Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Great to be with you. Appreciate you joining us. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free. Always don't miss anything. Sometimes you do, it happens. And when it does, we got you covered. All 3 hours posted to iTunes and in our own audio vault. Go to iTunes and find it at your convenience. Email the show if you like, jcs at 979espnradio.com. Find me on Twitter at jcameronshow. WTSM app, good for mobile devices. Hello, YouTubers. Hello, Periscopers. Hope everybody's well out there. Really wish we were playing baseball today. I woke up ready to watch Florida State baseball. I've kind of got my mind right, Tom, as they say. I've gotten locked in and ready to go. Not the weightiest of expectations, but I'm ready to go. I'm ready to watch. I don't know why. This gut feeling has not left me. I said it yesterday and the day before. I told you, got a feeling they're going to play well in the Athens Regional. Now watch them get smoked 11-0 and 10-2 or something. But I don't know what it is. I just feel like they're going to play well. Maybe it's because I have no expectations, just a weird gut feeling, nothing scientific about it. Feels like they're due to surprise us in a refreshing way.
Well, it's because we've been watching a lot of Florida State sports, and we've been devoid of it for a little while now.
That's fair. That's fair.
Especially with the expectations. I saw a graphic today, lining up all the softball games out in Oklahoma City, and we're the only one out of the top 8 seeds that didn't make it out there, and we would be playing Florida today at 7 o'clock. And I was like, damn, would have liked to have an opportunity to beat the Gators again in that sport. But alas, okay, now it's time for baseball, and you're right. Even though it's noon tomorrow, so we don't have to wait very long. It just, I want to know how the story ends.
I want to know how the story ends. I want him to play well. I want Coach Martin to be excited and proud of, what happens here to conclude his final season. Now, at the end of the day, we know that his last game's not going to be a win, right? I mean, we know that. They're not winning the World Series. They're not. I mean, I don't. If that happens, my goodness gracious, I'll begin to believe in things I don't believe in. I'll start to talk about destiny and fate and all these other stuff. Like, I'll get mystical on you at that point because this team has no business.
You will turn into the Ben Crenshaw show.
I mean, it will be insane, right? I mean, you would be stunned. We all would be. Absolutely floored. Any other year, almost literally any other year, you'd go, they got a shot. They're pretty good. They've had their fair share of successes against good teams this year. Not this one. No, we wouldn't.
I think the key is if you just wanted to argue for it, you'd say that Drew Parrish has to be outstanding. Because if he is, and you can give the ball to CJ in Game 2 this weekend, next weekend, and potentially in a College World Series final series setting, you've got a chance. But you've got to win the first game every time that you start anew. And I don't know. That's really tough.
That's why it's not expected, Tom. But
you don't say, like, when you said we know his last game is going to be a loss. I don't know.
Yeah, you do. You do. Come on. Reasonable people, you could say.
I expect his last game to be a loss. 100% there.
I mean, in theory, lots of things may not happen, but, I mean, we don't operate with this idea that, like, the sun's not going to come up tomorrow. The sun's coming up. I know it is.
So you're saying it's about the same?
I think it's about the same thing,
like
buddy.
The percentage chance the sun comes up tomorrow is the percentage chance that we don't win the College World Series.
You could say, we don't know that, and you'd be right. I think we know that. I think we know the sun's coming up.
Didn't realize the two were akin.
I think they're about the same thing. I think we're right about there, buddy. But I'm ready to watch them play, and it's okay if they don't win the College World Series. And I don't even say that like, you're just a defeatist, Jeff. No, it's, first of all, even if they were really good, it's unlikely they're going to win the College World Series.
So let me ask this question. What's more likely, we win the College World Series or we win the College Football Playoff National Championship this year? Because to me, I would put a football title next to, like, the Suns coming up. I'm so sure we're not going to win the football title.
I think that's correct, too. I think that's correct, too. We're dipping our toes right back in the water again. We're doing the same thing we do every day by accident even. Even when we decided this is not what we're going to do, somehow we get drawn into the ineptitude of our football program within minutes of discussing anything else. It literally is the strangest thing how you and I could be talking about shoelaces, and the end of the conversation will have something to do with our sorry-ass offensive line. I could randomly call you to ask about a sales package for the upcoming football season because I'm meeting with a client later today.
It's a big one.
And before the conversation ends, somehow one of us is going to bring up football, and 20 minutes later, we'll go, well, we'll see. It can't be any worse than they were last year. And then I hang up the phone, and I'm driving down the road, and I go, how did this conversation about the new sales package turn into us bitching about the football program? It's bizarre.
I'm just counting down. That's like the 9th consecutive show that bitch or bitching has been in. And you're right. It's true.
Well, I mean, that's just what we're doing, a lot of bitching.
It's the off season.
Yeah. And listen, it's not like we can ignore the most popular topic in the city. Honestly, if you threw out a million sports topics around an array of sports, men, women, children, black, white, doesn't matter, old, young, whatever, this would be the most popular topic. Florida State football. Willie Taggart.
Florida State offensive
line.
Yeah.
Florida State football. Florida State's last season. Florida State recruit. Florida State football in some capacity would be the number one. So you can't ignore it.
If you're on a Craigslist type site, where they have the different keywords and the size of the word means how often it's searched.
Yes.
Like offensive line would be the size of your computer screen. It would just be the size of the entire window.
It would just be an O. You'd have to scroll over.
Meanwhile, Marvin Wilson would be very small. It would just be you'd have to get out a magnifying glass.
That's what we should do. That's exactly what we should do. When we catch ourselves falling off into that rut again, just one of us say Marvin Wilson. Just say it, because that makes you smile. I think he's going to have a great year. He is one of our best players. He's an exciting prospect. He's somebody that we're excited to see start and excited to see dominate the interior of the defensive line this year.
Okay, but what's he going to play? A 3-tech? I mean, he's obviously not going to be over the football.
Right, if we're going to a full 3-4 is what you're saying.
It sounds like it.
It does sound like it a little bit, doesn't it?
It sounds like that's what Willie wants. He's making
we don't have ends, Tom.
He's making suggestions openly about what the defense should be doing.
That's another topic, too.
Since day one.
That's actually more interesting, because that doesn't involve us complaining about the offensive line or last season or the state of the program that Jimbo Fisher left, which, by the way, there was an article on that very subject written today, the Tampa Times, about the mess that Jimbo Fisher left because he was asked about it. Jimbo doesn't appreciate being asked about the mess in Tallahassee, and he deflects. Oh, they're in great shape. I left them in great shape. They've got players to be drafted left and right. I'm sure he said, I see they're projected to go to a bowl again this year.
Start a new streak. Thanks for that.
That's rich. I love that. That is such a political answer, such a politician's answer, right? It's just absurd. Just ignore all the evidence and what was really being asked in the question and just say something asinine that's kind of a non sequitur. Well, I see where they're projected to go to another bowl this year. Thanks, man. Great.
If he was attempting for a Spurrier dig, that would be a fantastic Spurrier-type dig.
Yeah, we'd have to hear tone, and I didn't get to hear it. I just know that, they're meeting over there in Destin, and so SEC, they're getting interviewed.
You would have to go 2 times slower to understand the tone, though, because I'm sure he was uncomfortable, and so he went motor mouth all over it.
Oh, and his eyes got darty, and he got pissed off that he was asked the question, and he stared holes through the reporter that asked it.
I'm guessing it was Baker, because he's the one who wrote the article.
Yeah.
Congratulations on writing something somewhat.
Got to write something, man. Got to write
FSU.
something right. I don't know. It was brought up. It was brought to his attention more than once, and I do like that he has to answer for it. But anyhow, it doesn't do us any good to rehash
Marvin
that.
Wilson.
So there you go. Because this was really dangerously close. We were in peril there. I feel like another 2 sentences, the offensive line was going to come up. I really believe somehow that would have turned into a complaint about the offensive line. I don't know how we would have got there, but we would have got there.
I legitimately am intrigued / concerned. How are we going to use Marv in the 3-4? I know he's a great player, but are we going to hide him and try to have him plug up the gaps?
So the uncertainty of how Marvin Wilson gets used somehow leads to the fact we can't block anybody. That's where this is headed. Guaranteed.
Well, yes, you could say, and I wasn't going to go here, but you could say, I don't care what the practice reports say about how good he is in camp. Just don't care about that one bit. Everyone. If they say somebody's unblockable, just laugh and snicker and say, sure. All right. Boise State's only weeks away. Let's worry about that.
DeMarcus Cousins is available for tonight's game 1. Kevin Durant is not. I'll give you the scenario I want to see. in the NBA Finals tonight. We'll have Game 1 for you right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
That's correct.
8 o'clock, right after the soccer guys, Tom. Did you know the soccer guys were on tonight?
I did.
They are. And then right after they're done, we'll be listening to the basketball. I'm excited about it.
Sounds like a whale of a night.
If you had to work an overnight, you'd be grateful to 97.9 ESPN Radio.
You sure would.
You'd say, my goodness gracious, I'm glad that I'm able to attend work, flip on that old transistor radio that I keep with me at all times at this office.
Just like in Major League 2 in the hospital
that's right.
bed.
Listen in to a little NBA Finals tonight, Golden State and Toronto. What's Steve Kerr got to say about his starting lineup tonight? Well, ESPN Radio's got it for me right here.
I'm sure Kevin Winter will.
Yeah.
8:02 p.m.
There you go.
Kevin Winter here in the studios.
Oh, man. I was on with Kevin Winter. And so you guys know who that is. Tom's making fun of Kevin Winter, who you sometimes hear do the pre-games or SportsCenter updates and all that other stuff.
He's a pro's pro, but he's on
he is,
12 at all times.
He is all in on announcer voice, and he stays that way. And this is cool. This is a good reveal since you brought him up. When we went out to the Rose Bowl, the first time, and the second time for that matter, but the first time we went out there when we won the national championship, Tom, I was on with Kevin Winter, and I was excited about it because I've not been asked to be on with him before, and I knew this was going out nationally, and I was like, oh, this is going to be cool. So the producer calls me and is like, are you going to be on with Kevin Winter? I go, okay. We're in the break, and he goes, how you doing, Jeff? He stayed in character. I was like, I'm good, Kevin. How are you? Doing very well, thanks. He was all in, and he stayed. So that's who he is. That is who he is. It's like that guy, Scott, what's his face with the NFL Red Zone?
Scott Hansen.
That's who Scott Hansen is.
Yeah, but Scott Hansen's normal on the broadcast. And so when he leaves the broadcast, because when he's doing the Red Zone stuff, he's like, all right, well, let's get you to Kansas City.
Yeah.
It's understated, but he was overstated for the interview.
Over the top when we had him on. That interview sucked, and it was not my fault. He was terrible. He was.
Why don't you ask me if I need to use the bathroom once a week?
Oh. That was terrible. But Kevin Winter is that guy all the time.
So the two of them should have a podcast.
Hey, Scott. Hey, Kevin. How are you?
Called True Professionals.
That would maybe you get to hear him later on in this hour. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Hobbit offers Bingo Mondays, happy hour all day Fridays with craft beers on tap from all the local breweries. And the Hobbit is your home for all the UFC fights with plenty of high-def TVs for everyone. Be on the lookout for the food truck coming soon with the best lip smacking wings in town. Hobbit American Grill, celebrating 40 years of serving great food to great friends for good times. For info on their hours and 3 locations, visit them online at myhobbitonline.com.
Cigars of Tally is your one-stop shop for everything cigars. With 2 convenient locations, Cigars of Tally is here to serve you. The 1401 Market Street location is right off I-10 and great for travelers and after-work stops. The Midtown location, Cigars of Tally Lounge and Bar at 926 North Monroe Street, is great for those winding down from a long day. With the largest humidor in town, affordable cigar lockers, a large covered patio, and private conference rooms, there's something for everyone to enjoy. Cigars of Tally, open 7 days a week. Need cigars? Get your ash in here.
Thursdays are Friday Eve, and that's a reason to celebrate. No matter what you're looking for, they've got you covered every Thursday down in College Town. Centrale offers 50% off select pizzas all day, every Thursday. Or you can stop by Township for Taco Thursday. $2 house tacos, $2. Madison Social offers the Social Agreement. You and a buddy can split one order of wings, 2 Madso burgers, 2 bourbons, 2 proof Madison Socials, all for just $40. See what they did there? And don't worry about parking. Plenty of spaces available in the parking deck or surrounding lots. Check out all the Thursday College Town deals right now on ThursdaysInCollegetown.com.
And we're back with another edition of Spring Cleaning. Today, we want to know how you save energy, water, and money during a warmer season. Caller, you're on the air. What do you do to save energy?
With the warmer temperature, I know my AC is working overtime, so I make sure to replace my AC filter once a month.
Excellent suggestion. Next caller, you're on the air.
Well, the city of Tallahassee recommends that I take advantage of their grants and loans to get more insulation in my attic. That's really going to keep my cooling costs down.
These are some great suggestions. There are lots of ways to save. Caller, you're on the air.
I reduce energy for water heating by lowering my water heater temperature and installing low-flow shower heads.
We have time for one more caller. What do you have for us?
I make sure to use my programmable thermostat to regulate the temperature in my home when I'm away.
Thank you, caller. That's all the time we have today.
The City of Tallahassee Utilities would like to help you save as much energy as you can and save money while you're at it. Visit talgov.com for more information and start saving energy today.
I know you know this, and you probably have already suggested it, and maybe she's already had it. But, Tom, I'm bringing your girlfriend into the fold to talk about Bumpers Local.
Don't you bring her in here.
I'm telling you now that she would love the ahi salad.
Oh, yes.
Did I get it right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
that was
delicious.
That was the first thing she ever tried, and now anytime we are in the neighborhood, which is a capital circle right between I-10 and Centerville. Like
you're
right
giving
in
the people
there.
the location for Bumpers Local 349.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. I like it.
Yes.
They have delicious food. I like tacos. You can't screw up tacos, but they do really good tacos.
I am a big fan of the Uncle Sal because the Uncle Sal is sausage, peppers, and onions. You can't go wrong with that trio, man.
You like the peppers and onions more than I do.
It must be like a New York thing. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Everybody's a little bit Italian because they're coming from New York because the peppers and onions isn't exactly Irish
I like
cuisine.
it when they're cooked up like that.
Oh,
yeah,
it's
like
hard to beat. A little mustard? Yeah.
I'm forever going to champion the wings and the Cobb salad. It's Bumpers Local 349. They got live music. They've got a number of televisions and, of course, tasty beverages, man. Good stuff.
The Braves are back, and as 2019 heats up, Atlanta is looking for some huge wins as they set off to defend the division crown.
Hit the left field solidly. 2 runs will score. Snitker rolls the dice, and it comes up a winner.
Atlanta Braves baseball on 97.9 ESPN Radio is brought to you by Whitten Glass, Tallahassee's first family in glass, and by Metro Deli in downtown Tallahassee. You're locked in with the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
So many lineup options. A team that has an insane number of really elite players make it nearly impossible to find a way for Toronto to win. But I do think that the matchup pits arguably the best defensive team in basketball against obviously the most prolific offensive team in basketball.
Do you think that it's a fabrication on ESPN and other media outlets' part to say that this is going to be a really close series? A lot of people are talking about this series like it's going to be compelling, more compelling than you'd think if you were just a casual basketball fan.
I have a hard time believing that Toronto can win the series. And so I go into it with the idea that it's a foregone conclusion, and thus I'm not as I maybe excited or invested. But I want Toronto to win, A. B, I root for people like Kawhi Leonard who go about their business of being one of the 2 or 3 best players in the league in obscurity and silence. He's the anti-Kevin Durant. He's the anti-Kyrie. He's the anti of any of the flamboyant superstars that we talk about.
Yes, but he quietly got himself out of San Antonio.
Got himself out of San Antonio.
Engineered that situation.
But I don't believe that he did so by lying. I think he was hurt. I think he disagreed with San Antonio's doctors, felt like they were rushing him back. It pissed him off, and he was alienated at that point, but he was also hurt. because he's never been a Jake before or since. He's played hurt. He's not a guy that's not going to play if he could play. So I don't believe he could play. If he really could play and chose not to just because he was mad, I feel like we would have heard more about that. I feel like at some point Popovich would have just straight up said that.
He may have. Yeah, that's the one thing he's got going for him, Kawhi, that Pop really never came out and said
got mad at
anything other than, I wish we just could have talked about it. But the Ramona Shelburne piece did paint a picture that Kawhi was getting bad advice and took the bad advice from advisors.
Maybe that's true. Maybe it was bad advice. Certainly that's, intoned in that, but I don't think he thought it was. So I believe he acted morally. I don't think he was in breach of his contract. And the evidence we have of Kawhi Leonard before and certainly after is of a guy that is probably one of the 3 or 4 best players in the league and doesn't need the fanfare. He's not online pumping his chest all the time. He's a very quiet guy, as we well know. I'm not saying that I love quiet guys over loud guys. I'm a loud guy. I mean, but I do like guys in this day and age who don't need assurances from people that don't matter, like non-teammates, non-people of the organization, or even fans of other teams. I like guys that just go out and say, okay, I'll kick ass for you, the ones that are paying me. I'll give it my all. This is what I do. I'm a professional, and I'm really good at what I do, and I don't need to tell you about that. I can just go do that. Because Kyrie's not that way in Boston or Cleveland or wherever he's going to end up being now. Certainly LeBron's not that way. LeBron's been a great player, one of the all-time best players. He has more than fulfilled the promise of the hype. And I give him all the credit in the world, but he's also annoying sometimes. It's a look at me sort of deal. We get that a lot, right? I mean, all the things that they talk about now that it's been revealed in that Lakers piece, he's difficult as well. He's always been thought of to be a tough teammate because everything has to go through LeBron. Well, when you're one of the 2 or 3 best players in the history of the game, that's going to happen. I grant you that, and you've won championships, but it is annoying.
Well, and as Windhorst has said, that he will be a completely different person in the offseason and when the regular season begins and say, guys, this is the way it's going to be, and then once you get to about Christmas time, flips the switch.
Right.
And he turns into micromanager LeBron. So it's the ultimate passive-aggressive.
And I've always heard the reason for that is, and when you read the countless stories that have been done on LeBron James, one thing does seem to come across, and that is he is a brilliant basketball mind. Like, he knows more than his coaches, so this becomes a problem. He has a sense for the game, unlike many superstars, in addition to being physically gifted the way that he is. And so it's a little bit like when you were a kid and you realized you were smarter than your teacher. Your teacher might be in a little bit of trouble. Like, what could they say to you if you didn't want to do something, right? I mean, that can be, but that's also petulant. That's also not a good look.
So you could say principal's office, and she did have that card.
She did have that card, but the NBA coaches don't. You're not telling LeBron a thing, and you can't. What do you do? You need him more than he needs you.
I could.
So that's the way that works, right? But you don't fear, like with Kawhi Leonard, that guy is going to, he's going to go off and then tell everybody about it and then need all this other affirmation from other outside sources. So I love him. I love the fact that he's also as dominant a defender as there is in the league. That's another thing I like, is that a guy gets that, something that we should all expect of our players. If you have a favorite team, everybody does. Your best player, you kind of don't. You're kind of without a team currently because the Knicks have done you wrong. But anyhow, your best player has to lead in so many ways. And unfortunately, one of the ways that a lot of guys don't lead is on the defensive end of the floor. It's about the offense only. I want a well-rounded, quote-unquote, two-way player. I always hate the phrase two-way player. What's a two? There are 2 parts of the game.
The expectation is you're only a one-way player.
That's nuts. Yeah. Like, can you imagine Leonard Hamilton? That's why he couldn't make it in the NBA. It's one of the many reasons he couldn't make it in the NBA as a coach, right? Because he's not the guy that's going to put up with the fact that you don't know what you're doing on defense or not trying on defense. Like, that's a big part of how you play the game of basketball. You have to try on defense, and nobody tries harder on defense than Kawhi Leonard.
I think obviously the most impressive thing he's done his entire career, Kawhi Leonard, is that he took over a series between the Heat and the Spurs to the point where LeBron, Wade, and Bosh were not talked about on the level that Kawhi Leonard was talked about.
Oh, it's awesome.
In the era of social media and overhyping.
And he did it at 20 years old.
And he forced people to talk about him as the best player in that series. That's the most awesome thing that he's done so far.
Yeah, and Toronto comes back from 2-0 in that series against Milwaukee, and he plays hurt in that series, and yet it's his defense against Giannis. After Game 2, they make that switch, and Giannis, if you go look at the advanced metrics with Kawhi Leonard on Giannis and anybody else on Giannis, it's a completely different series because of the minutes he was able to commit to guarding Giannis. And nobody really – I mean, I read something the other day. This makes sense. It's not Giannis's fault. He's 25. Like, your greatest players in the league that have gone on to win championships and were thought of as the alpha, the superstar of said team. So you go through history, whether it's Isaiah Thomas or Michael Jordan or Larry Bird or Magic Johnson, whatever. They weren't like 27, 28 years old. They had to be like, they weren't great, and they didn't win championships till they were like 26, 27, 28 years old. So there is this period of time where we recognize the stardom, the emerging stardom, elements of a game that's coming together. And with Giannis, you can see that. So I don't blame them for, losing that series.
Right, he's a consistent jumper away from being a total freak.
And that's all it is, right? You go back 2 years ago, you look at the skill set, you look at the body type, and you go, I don't know what he is. I don't know what this guy is. Now you know he's a star, and he's really close to being the best player in the league. He's not the best player in the league right now, but he's getting there, and so maybe in 2 years he will. Unfortunately, it'll be for somebody else. Like the Bucks will not get the finished product Giannis. They will get to watch it, they'll get to see it, and then he'll take his services
for like
elsewhere.
a playoff run.
Oh, it's going to suck, right? Because they needed to go now. Because they have decisions to make with that roster now. Listen, Boston's going to make a move. Obviously, Durant's going to go to the Knicks probably, right? We'll see where Kyrie goes. But, like, things are getting shaken up in the East, and that who knows if Milwaukee has another chance to get back to the finals. Probably not. So if you're a Milwaukee fan, you're going, that was the window. We had to get by Toronto. We had it.
Your window is like one
You got
out of
one
20
shot.
years.
Toronto, you got to give Toronto all the credit in the world. Think about what happened last year and the way they were talked about. They fired the coach of the year. Fired his ass. Get out of here. We're done. No, we're not doing this. We're too close. You're screwing this up. They fire the guy, and then they make their move with no guarantees. Kawhi's probably not coming back, but they make that move. Like, we're in. We're going to shake it up a little bit. We're going back. We're going to get to our finals. And here they are. They got there.
Must be the time of the year that when you said we're going back, it just reminds me of Martin saying that and slapping the table.
One of the greatest videos ever.
We're going back
to Omaha. Yeah. But, listen, so you think about all that's on the line in those moments for franchises like Milwaukee or Toronto. You got to get while the getting's good. And for Toronto, unfortunately for them, since they are a franchise that's never really done anything, I mean, they're most famous for having Vince Carter, of course. But to me, and that was a great trade, but to me, this is their apex, right? They're not going to win the series. They got to the finals. That's now on the resume, right? They're the Eastern Conference champions. That's on the resume. They'll forever have that.
Percent chance they win the series?
Under 50. I'd say,
okay.
Yeah.
But you didn't start with like 5.
No, because you have a superstar, like a legit tier 1 superstar player on your team. The problem is they have like 3 on the other team. Now, Durant's not playing. I find that funny because I know that bothers him. I wonder if he's secretly rooting for them to lose while he's not playing. But nonetheless, he's not playing. So for now, you're not having to deal with yet another transcendent player. Now, you also have Hall of Famers in Steph Curry and potentially, obviously, we'll see. I don't know if Klay Thompson's a Hall of Famer, but he's certainly one of the all-time greatest shooters. And you go through that team and all their, all that they
Well, let's say you could get Boogie up to by game 3 or game 4, giving you 15, 20 minutes a game. That's huge.
Oh, they got too many weapons for me to say that Toronto can win 4 times.
There's only one ball.
Yeah, but they can't, the problem is when that ball is shared, the options that they defer to time and again with the ball movement are really good ones, like all-stars. Every time they pass the ball, it's to an all-star. And if you're Kawhi Leonard.
Well, if Durant comes back into the equation and they have a quota system that they've already implemented, then maybe they have some issues, a disjointed look to their play on the offensive side of the court.
Think how frustrating that is when you're playing Golden State with their ball movement. So, just go around the horn, right? It's got to be so aggravating because you're either finding future Hall of Famers or all-stars that's touching the basketball almost every time, right? And then for a guy like Kawhi Leonard, I got to kick it out to Van Fleet, do I? All right. Okay. Now maybe he'll hit it.
You look at him and you say, give me one game. I need you to give me one game where you hit 6 or 7 threes and not on volume. Like you hit it for a decent amount of attempts. You hit 6 or 7.
The worst thing that can happen to them, maybe in my mind, just because there's no way, like the data points don't tell you they can sustain it. But what if Van Vliet or Lowry and Kawhi all are on it at the same time? You're like, no, save some of this. Like, we don't all need to be hot tonight. That's just one win. That's all we can get out of this. I need you when I'm off tomorrow's game or the next game. In the NBA, they space this out for a month between games. But so I'm great tonight. I don't need you, Van Vliet. Get it together. You don't. I got this. I'm going to drop 40 tonight. They can't guard me. Now, if I start a little rusty in game 2, I need you, baby. Or you, Lowry. Somebody, Serge. Somebody step up. I need you to make, right? But it would suck if they're all great in game 1 and they win by 27. You're like, oh, that's it. They'll never get that again. That's it.
I think you'd be one of the few people to say that's it for Golden State, though, after that game. Like, Paul Pierce certainly would say, well, that's it. Toronto's the best team in the series. But I think a lot of people would say, whoa, wait a minute. Toronto's got something. But I think you might be one of the only people after game 1 to go, well, that's it. They
can't
Toronto's got no chance.
Well, I mean, I just think to myself, they're going to need help because they can't do that again. Like, what are the chances that 3 of those guys or 4 of those guys are all going to remain hot for the entirety of a series? Like, that would just serve to piss Golden State off. They'd be like, okay, this is what you're doing? Okay, so you're all going to go great tonight. You're going to go 10 over your season average. You're going to shoot at a percentage clip that you haven't done all year long. Is that how this goes? All right, we'll bury you now. It's almost like you want to win, but you don't want to piss them off. We won by 2. They're like, oh, ain't that cute? But you haven't awakened them yet. It's weird. Jeff Cameron Show.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
NBA history outside the U.S. The Raptors won both meetings during the regular season, and ESPN's Andre Snellings explains why he's one of the few who picked Toronto in this series.
The thing with the Raptors, it's become clear now how much they were sandbagging in the regular season. They gave Kawhi Leonard get 22 games off for load management, and they still won 58. They still had the second best record in the league. They still had one of the best scoring margins in the league. And so it shows that they had a team that's capable of playing at a really high level, even when Leonard wasn't completely locked in. And so you take that base, and then you add a guy who's having one of the best playoffs individually that we've seen in the last few years, and that's what's different. That's what takes a team that, okay, they're a contender, and now makes them, hey, they might be a favorite.
Andre Snellings on Freddie and Fitzsimmons. Kevin Durant is out tonight, and Coach Steve Kerr says it's a long shot that Durant will practice before Game 2 on Sunday. DeMarcus Cousins will be available tonight for Golden State, and our coverage starts at 8 Eastern on ESPN Radio, ABC, and the ESPN app. A young girl was hit by a foul ball at the Cubs-Astros game in Houston last night. She was taken to the hospital where the initial reports seemed to be positive. The girl was struck in the 4th inning by a line drive off the bat of Cubs outfielder Albert Almora Jr. Second-round winners at the French Open today include Serena Williams, Naomi Osaka, and Novak Djokovic.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
Who's ready for the best wings in Tally and locally brewed beers? Hobbit American Grill is the place to be. They've been voted Tally's best wings again in 2018. Hobbit offers Bingo Mondays, happy hour all day Fridays with craft beers on tap from all the local breweries. And the Hobbit is your home for all the UFC fights with plenty of high-def TVs for everyone. Be on the lookout for the food truck coming soon with the best lip-smacking wings in town. Hobbit American Grill, celebrating 40 years of serving great food to great friends for good times. For info on their hours and 3 locations, visit them online at myhobbitonline.com.
Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram is the Jeep headquarters of America. We've purchased over 100 Jeep Renegades, and they've all arrived and are on the lot for immediate delivery. 2018 Jeep Renegade Latitude with MSRP starting at $25,120. On sale now for $18,870. That's a savings of $6,250. A new Jeep starting at only $18,870. Those prices are unheard of and can only be found at your Jeep headquarters of America, Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. No other dealer can offer you this kind of savings. We buy in mass quantities and pass along the savings to you. 2018 Jeep Renegade Latitude starting at $18,870. Payments as low as $299 a month. On the corner of West Tennessee and Capitol Circle, where we're right on the corner and always right on the price. Check us out on the web at TallahasseeDCJ.com. All prices include rebates and incentives plus tax, title, and dealer fee. State number 18J605. Must finance through Chrysler Capital and qualify for all rebates and incentives.
This is Lisa Brady. 17 years ago, I opened Lisa's Paint and Body to provide Tallahassee with an honest repair shop. Thanks to you, our customers, we have outgrown our current location and soon will be moving. Our new location is twice the size, easier access, state-of-the-art equipment, and the newest technology.
ASE and ICAR certified technicians. Personalized attention, guaranteed results. 2820 Mahan Drive. Call 385-2665. Lisa's Paint and Body Shop, MV46050.
Get your vehicle ready for summer during Murray AC Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Whether you need a full AC repair or a charge on your system, you'll find special offers on everything from AC compressors to refrigerant. Stay cool this summer. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Liberty Mutual Insurance presents and Doug.
Limu, there's a woman threatening to sign up for generic car insurance. Grab your birdseed and let's go.
I'm gonna sign these papers right here, right now.
Ma'am, drop the pen. Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance, so you only pay for what you need.
Thanks, Limu, Emu, and Doug.
Don't thank us, thank Liberty Mutual. But also thank us.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Equal housing insurer. State laws apply.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
A little trickle every day, just a little something. Gives you hope. Little things. South Florida's game against Wisconsin will kick off at 7 p.m. Okay. I'll get crazy with that, but that's all right. I'll take that.
It's just one weird matchup.
That's a cool matchup, though. I keep going back to it. I don't know why, but I love the idea of those two uniforms contrasting on the football field. I like it.
South Florida has a good chance to win that football game. Just because Wisconsin is a fraud at all times, every year.
Yeah, most of the time that's true, yeah. Except for when they're beating the bejesus out of Miami. Then we love them.
It doesn't really take you out of the classification as a fraud.
But it doesn't. But we're not going to make fun of them for being frauds when they're in the midst of hammering Miami.
No.
Then we celebrate all things Wisconsin. We're like, these guys, all right, these guys are awesome.
The most animated Paul Chryst has ever been.
South Florida's August 30th matchup against, and that's the season opener, of course, against Wisconsin, will kick off at 7 o'clock on ESPN. The American Athletic Conference announced that today, and they are pleased. They are excited, obviously. The announcement was among many kickoff time/TV updates provided by conferences in conjunction currently with their spring meetings. The AAC, easier for Tom to say.
The AAC.
Spring meetings. He likes saying it. You can hear the gusto. Spring meetings conclude today in Irving, Texas. When you're in the AAC, you have your spring meetings in Irving, Texas.
The AAC.
Welcome into AAC football, everybody. I'm Skip Johnson. And what a matchup we have for you AAC fans tonight. Bulls schedule announcements. There's September the 14th game against South Carolina State, 6 o'clock. You don't care about that. The Navy game, by the way, Tom, will be 3:30 on CBS. They're doing big-time stuff at USF.
CBS?
Yeah.
Or CBS Sports Network?
That's correct. The CBS Sports Network. You're right. Not the CBS.
The home for AAC football.
Is that how they're going to do it? I like it. You need to pitch that. The SEC also announced kickoff times. That Alabama ass-kicking that they're going to lay on Duke right in the middle of the afternoon, 3:30.
Mm-hmm.
3:30 start time for that Bama-Duke ass-kicking.
Yeah, couldn't flex that into the old 8P, could you?
They probably tried, too. Like, oh. I got asked a question last night by somebody who's a huge Alabama fan, a legitimate Alabama graduate, so I can't fault them for being a fan. And so I had to entertain the question, but the implied slight led to a bit of a debate. They said, who's the second best team in the ACC? Came out swinging, didn't they? And I said, I don't know. Clearly Clemson's the first because they're the best team in the country, is what I said back to him. And that he didn't like it. He flinched a little bit. I said, Bama being the second best team in the country. So we sat and looked at each other. And then there was sort of, okay, touche on the question, because no matter who I say is the second best team, they're not as good as the second best team in the SEC, and that is factual. Yes,
and they're not us. You know?
And the answer is definitely not us.
It's not us.
Yeah. Once again, a reminder that the ACC, with the all-new ACC network coming in August, needs Florida State to get off their ass. They need Florida State to start doing some things. They've needed Miami to do things for a long time, but we're still waiting.
That's a hell of a question. I mean, like, you could have said NC State last year pretty easily.
Syracuse won 10 games.
Well, I'm talking about preseason, like in terms of expectations.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
But, because Finley was coming back and they had a lot of kids
I just
that
never
were set.
believe in NC State. They haven't won anything ever.
We talked about them with more belief this time last year. Not to beat Clemson, but just as a,
I guess.
as a threat.
I just never believe them. I don't think they're coached well. I don't think they're never any good. Yeah.
Moving on.
I'm just telling you, I don't ever believe in them. I look at that story at the ACC meetings, and everybody was, you're right, talking about NC State. I'm like, they're not going to do anything. They never do.
I thought you were okay with them, but you weren't a believer in Duke.
Well, I'm never a believer in Duke, but I wasn't that okay with NC State. I never think, because I don't believe that they're well coached, and I've talked about that. I laughed when they gave him that extension. I laughed when he was a candidate for the Tennessee job. I was like, oh, Jesus. And he said, no, that was the best part. No, I'm good. I'm at a better institution. I'm all right. No thanks, Tennessee.
I get to see this because, YouTubers do get to see this.
Yeah.
Because you were indexing Dave Doran in your mind, and then it came up in your mind. He said no to Tennessee. And there was such joy in your eyes and heart.
It makes me laugh.
Dave
Doran
said
told them no. Think about that. Get Dave Doran on the horn. Really? We got to call Dave Doran.
I know, but he'll take the job.
He'll take the job. I mean, Jesus, he's at NC State. What have they ever done? Yeah, fair enough. Give him a call. See if he wants our job. Dave, Jerry here. Listen, you want the gig? Yeah, you weren't our first choice, but you're a damn fine football coach, and there's a lot of support for you here at the office. If you'll take the job, we'll offer it. Yeah, we'll do so publicly. Oh, you're good where you are. Okay. He doesn't want it. What do you want me to do? He doesn't want the job. What am I supposed to do? Are you sure you don't want the Tennessee job, Dave? It's the Tennessee in the SEC. Okay. All right. Well, you're a man of conviction. Good talking to you, Dave. Good luck next year. That's got to be the worst. Click. We got turned down by Dave Doran, everybody. That's where we're at. Dave Doran just told us to go to hell. And he didn't really think that long about it. He didn't say, I'll get back to you in a couple hours. Like just now, within 30 seconds, Dave Doran said, no thanks, I'm good. Good Lord. That's brutal. South Carolina And New Mexico State. Did you see that? That can't be right? Oh, no, that's Alabama and South Carolina, week 3, 3:30 on CBS. The bet we had a year ago about Arkansas, Woo Pig Sooie.
Yeah.
Did I win that? Who won that bet? Did Matthew win that bet? Matthew, did you say 500 on Arkansas?
He said 6-6. You said 5-7. I said 4-8.
All right. Arkansas has got to feel a little bit like Tennessee. You won that bet, right?
They went 2-10. Is that right? I'm looking at the standings.
I keep thinking of that poor bastard. The professor. That professor's still drunk.
Yeah, they went 2-10.
He's drunk right now.
Man, how did I lose track of that?
Just screaming at the heavens. Why can't we win anything? This is ridiculous.
He's actually foreign, and, he came over to the States. He's like, I just want to work for a college football-loving institution.
And he fell in love with Arkansas. And he thought,
they're
we're
in the
going to win
mighty
some games.
SEC.
Yeah, we're going to win some games. I love Arkansas's uniform. I do. I love their uniform. The boar is a good-looking thing, but they just...
And it's off red. It's got its own unique color.
Yeah, I like their uniforms. Just useless. They're like, we should go to the SWAC. We got to get out of here. This is not.
They went 0-8 in conference.
This is not going well for us. Like, we can't win a game in the conference. Vanderbilt wins games and we can't.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Distributor Triangle Sales.
Hi, Chris Kraft for the all-new Infiniti of Tallahassee, the newest Kraft Brothers dealership. As we get ready to break ground on the new Kraft Infiniti store, Peter and I thought, why not have a founding 50 with lots of cool stuff for 50 special buyers? And when we say special benefits, we mean it. Here's just some of what you'll get. Free lifetime oil changes, free lifetime powertrain warranty, and free gas fill-up with factory scheduled maintenance. I told you this was special, and there's more. Free car wash and loaner cars, a gold license plate frame, and a commemorative brick at our new store. Plus, my favorite, the white glove treatment with front-of-the-line service priority. It's Tallahassee's first truly VIP car buying and servicing experience. So if you're in the market for a luxury vehicle, you need to look at Infiniti of Tallahassee. Seriously, no haggle pricing, and every time you come in for factory scheduled maintenance, we change your oil for free, wash your car, and even fill it up with gas. It's Infiniti of Tallahassee's founding 50, so prepare to be pampered. Infiniti of Tallahassee, 3355 Capitol Circle Northeast, next to Ted's Montana Grill.
Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey sponsors Braves baseball so that all of you can enjoy the action. Ever since the days of Hank Aaron and Dale Murphy, we've been Tallahassee's home run hitting law firm. And because we don't get paid unless we win, we want to win every case as much as Chipper Jones wanted to win every game. So when you're injured, don't just trust any law firm to handle your case. Make the call to the bullpen for a trusted closer. To see our stats on the back of our baseball card, visit wrongfullyinjured.com. Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey. Personal injury law is all we do.
We're back with a state champion. That's right, a state champion head coach. His name is Titus Nixon. He is the basketball coach at St. John Paul II Catholic High School. Coach, how long have you been involved with athletics at JP2?
So I've been involved for 8 years as a coach. I was an assistant, and then 2 years as the girls basketball coach, and then I just completed my 5th year as the boys basketball coach. I also spent my junior and senior years as a student at JP2 in the early years of the school's beginning.
What does it say, though, about the culture of an institution that you graduate from there almost 15 years ago, but here you are still spending your time back at that school?
I think it says a lot. The fact that my wife didn't graduate from JP2, but we both felt drawn back to help in some way. And we weren't even living in Tallahassee, and we always had this thought of, man, it would be so neat if I could go back and help in some way. And when I was named the coach 5 years ago, It was very special, and people thought I was crazy when I said in 5 years we're going to win a state championship. Maybe even I thought I was a little crazy, and it was just so cool to see the program develop over these last 5 years. And we've seen that in many of the sports at JP2. We have so many committed coaches, so many committed teachers that really lay it all on the line day in and day out to try to provide a great atmosphere and a lifelong positive experience for these students in their high school years.
Coach, thanks for your time. For more information about athletics, academics, student life, visit sjpiichs.org for St. John Paul II Catholic High School.
Thursdays are Friday Eve, and that's a reason to celebrate. No matter what you're looking for, they've got you covered every Thursday down in College Town. Centrale offers 50% off select pizzas all day, every Thursday. Or you can stop by Township for Taco Thursday. $2 house tacos, $2. Madison Social offers the Social Agreement. You and a buddy can split one order of wings, 2 Madso burgers, 2 bourbons, 2 proof Madison Socials, all for just $40. See what they did there? And don't worry about parking. Plenty of spaces available in the parking deck or surrounding lots. Check out all the Thursday College Town deals right now on ThursdaysInCollegetown.com.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
I seem to have broken at an odd time. Bad host. Come back and we get 2 minutes. Let's launch right into something.
Well, we could have done a 2-segment hour.
I could have gone on. I could have prattled on for another 2 minutes about Dave Doran telling Tennessee, I'm good.
And that poor Arkansas professor.
I love that guy. I wonder if he's around. I wonder, Auburn and Oregon, 7 p.m. on ABC. Good times. Florida and Miami, 7 p.m. on ESPN.
That being the week prior.
That being the week prior is exactly right. So, by the way, we don't think that Oregon's going to win that game, right? No.
That would be pretty surprising. But then again, is Auburn really that good?
You know what game's exciting? Kentucky and Florida, 7 p.m. on the SEC Network on September 14th.
The Greg McElroy special.
LSU and Texas is a 7 p.m. kickoff September the 7th on ABC. I like it. Just trying to find the nuggets, just the ones that you go, okay.
Is that a race to 24? Texas LSU?
That's a hard-hitting game right there. Those are two teams that are going to want to say something.
Maybe 27.
Yeah, 20. That feels a feel of like a 27-20 final or 27-23. That's a good game. I'm really, really stoked about that game. Are you more excited about that game or Texas A&M at Clemson 3:30 on ABC?
A&M Clemson, just because it's 15.5 or 15? Really?
I still marvel. That's a big number, man.
They were 12. I looked it up. They were 12.5 point favorites last year on the road.
With Kelly Bryant.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence is really good.
Yes, he is, but their defense might be gettable. And now they know Jimbo's system.
One would like to believe that's possible, right? Well, that they lose a bunch of first-rounders and suffer the consequences like everybody else that loses first-round draft picks. Damn it, man.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Just a little time to kick back and take a load off. About the last thing you want to do is hours of laundry, but there it sits, staring at you, taunting. No more. That's right. More watching, less washing. Save hours of valuable time when you sign up not doing laundry with Easy Laundry service from Wash Around the Clock. Whether it's dry cleaning or just plain laundry, Wash Around the Clock's Easy Laundry service will pick up and deliver at your home or office. So sign up for free today at easylaundry.net, or you can give them a call, 850-597-9007. Again, sign up today at easylaundry.net. Oh, and by the way, I got you. Use promo code JCS20 and save 20%. That's promo code JCS20. You're saving 20% on your first order. That's easylaundry.net from Wash Around the Clock.
Thompson Services of Tallahassee, LLC, has been servicing the Tallahassee area for over 20 years with a variety of services from tire repair, new and used tires, changing of big truck tires, and 24-hour roadside service. Thompson Services of Tallahassee also will detail your car to perfection with wash and wax and a variety of affordable packages to have you riding nice and clean. Thompson Services of Tallahassee is located at 3014 South Adams Street, right across from Planet Fitness. Call for a convenient service appointment at 850-284-5907.
Get your vehicle ready for summer during Murray AC Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Whether you need a full AC repair or a charge on your system, you'll find special offers on everything from AC compressors to refrigerant. Stay cool this summer. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
And we're back with another edition of Spring Cleaning. Today, we want to know how you save energy, water, and money during the warmer season. Caller, you're on the air. What do you do to save energy?
With the warmer temperature, I know my AC is working overtime, so I make sure to replace my AC filter once a month.
Excellent suggestion. Next caller, you're on the air.
Well, the city of Tallahassee recommends that I take advantage of their grants and loans to get more insulation in my attic. That's really going to keep my cooling costs down.
These are some great suggestions. There are lots of ways to save. Caller, you're on the air.
I reduce energy for water heating by lowering my water heater temperature and installing low-flow shower heads.
We have time for one more caller. What do you have for us?
I make sure to use my programmable thermostat to regulate the temperature in my home when I'm away.
Thank you, caller. That's all the time we have today.
The City of Tallahassee Utilities would like to help you save as much energy as you can and save money while you're at it. Visit talgov.com for more information and start saving energy today.
Driving every day from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. At long last, Game 1 of the NBA Finals tips off tonight. The Warriors and Raptors in Toronto. It's the first game in Raptors history in the finals and the first finals game in NBA history outside the U.S. The Raptors won both meetings during the regular season, and ESPN's Andre Snellings explains why he's one of the few who picked Toronto in this series.
The thing with the Raptors, it's become clear now how much they were sandbagging in the regular season. They gave Kawhi Leonard get 22 games off for load management, and they still won 58. They still had the second best record in the league. They still had one of the best scoring margins in the league. And so it shows that they had a team that's capable of playing at a really high level, even when Leonard wasn't completely locked in. And so you take that base, and then you add a guy who's having one of the best playoffs individually that we've seen in the last few years, and that's what's different. That's what takes a team that, okay, they're a contender, and now makes them, hey, they might be a favorite.
Andre Snellings on Freddie and Fitzsimmons. Kevin Durant is out tonight, and Coach Steve Kerr says it's a long shot that Durant will practice before Game 2 on Sunday. DeMarcus Cousins will be available tonight for Golden State, and our coverage starts at 8 Eastern on ESPN Radio, ABC, and the ESPN app. A young girl was hit by a foul ball at the Cubs-Astros game in Houston last night. She was taken to the hospital where the initial reports seemed to be positive. The girl was struck in the fourth inning by a line drive off the bat of Cubs outfielder Albert Almora Jr. Second-round winners at the French Open today include Serena Williams, Naomi Osaka, and Novak Djokovic.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Hour number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks for tuning to it. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you can listen live via the streaming free. Always don't miss anything. Sometimes that happens that you do. We got you. It'll be posted when the show concludes. I was just checking a number, Tom, because we were looking at start times for certain games in the SEC. We also looked at USF and their start times. Obviously, as these game times come out, they give you just a little taste. Just a little something there that makes you feel pretty good about the fact that we're getting more information surrounding the sport we are addicted to and love to talk about. It's not enough to carry the day, but it does get you thinking about matchups and what's on the line and who's going to have a good season, who's going to take a step back. But also it got me thinking about recruiting rankings. And we kind of gone through this before, and I'm just looking at I want to confirm if I saw this correctly, that the number of 5 stars recruits in the SEC East, I'm gonna miscount this because I don't want to do it live. It's boring if I do that.
Is this the Georgia note again?
Okay, so the stat I saw, and I need to find out if this is 100% accurate, is that I think there's something like 25 5-star recruits total in the SEC East, and 23 of them are on Georgia's roster.
Oh, over the life. Okay. So currently on the 85-man roster, 82.
That's a problem. I mean, it's something like that. I may be off a little bit by 2 or 3, but it's something like that. It's something absurd. Because we keep talking about how well they're recruiting you. Yeah, they are, and that's fine. I mean, Kirby's figured it out. He's taken the lessons learned from Nick and set up the infrastructure in such a way that they continue to succeed on the recruiting trail at a level that is alarming. But that is, whew. Look at Alabama, right? They have 27 commits, 3 5-stars, 23 4-stars. Look, Georgia has 5 5-stars. I'm talking about 2019. And 15 4-stars.
Right, and they had 7 5-stars last year in the 2018 class. If you go back to 2017, which is when Kirby really starts to get it rolling, Georgia had another 3. So you're talking 15 5-stars in the last 3 recruiting cycles. That's nuts.
Yes, because Alabama and Georgia, so Georgia has more 5-star commits than Alabama does, more than Texas A&M does. But if we're just going to look at teams in the SEC East, Florida has 0. They've got 0. So, there you go. Tennessee has 2. Okay. South Carolina has 1. Mm-hmm. Kentucky doesn't have any.
South Carolina has 1 and Florida has 0?
Florida has 0.
Huh.
Kentucky has 0. Vanderbilt, 0. Missouri, 0. They're all at Georgia. And if they're not, the others are at Alabama. Man, that Tennessee has 2. Florida's got to be. What are we doing? The Volunteers, having been turned down by Dave Doran, have managed to find 2 5-stars to say yes, and Florida can't. What are we doing?
Tennessee is finally lagging behind a little bit, though. They've got 6 commits in their class for this upcoming cycle. They're 30th in recruiting rankings, and 4 4-stars, 1 3-star, and 1 2-star.
No, man, and they, look, we talked about this when they made the hire that they did. It's absurd. That's not going to work. I'm not even just being a Tennessee hater. It's not going to work.
It's not that segment.
No, that's later in the summer.
and then every 2 or 3 weeks.
But that's a fun
thereafter.
segment. That's
Yeah.
even you like that segment because you're always floored by the amount of information that I come prepared with. I'm like, check this out.
Come with it.
Did you know? And then it's just boom, one after the other. In many ways, I think it's fascinating that Tennessee and NC State were talked about in the same breath because I think they're pretty much the same program.
At this point,
You know what I mean? Like when you look at
if you say like from 05 on or something like that.
a whole lot of nothing,
Yeah.
a whole lot of not winning a damn thing.
The only difference is that from 05 on, NC State's had some first round or at least NFL draft worthy quarterback play, right?
Yeah, they always have a pretty good quarterback, as the one guy that calls in on the satellite show tells me every time he calls. We got a quarterback. We always have a quarterback. Why don't you win more? What you don't do anything with them. You've had a lot of them. You're right, but you don't win anything. So that's. I mean, you're
Like a Tennessee fan. We have fan support. We have a lot of people in the stadium.
Well, and think about. They do, and although that has begun to dwindle, that's
Finally.
actually
How long did it take?
30 years.
That's
of,
impressive.
You know,
That is impressive. Here, it takes like a season and a half.
it took last year.
Yeah.
That took last year.
Took 2017,
Well,
really.
yeah, because they were terrible then too. But yeah, I look. I shudder to think what that stadium is going to look like this year. I really do, and. We're right that we were making fun of it in the first hour, but it's true. We constantly come back to this idea of the importance of Boise State, the importance of that football game.
You'll get at least a good walk-up market. Maybe not for ULM, but you'll get a walk-up market for the rest of the season if you can start 3-0. If you can get those first three.
I mean, you got to at least start 2-1.
I think you're punting on ULM. You give those tickets away to all the school kids
Well,
around
the only
this.
thing that saves them is that it is the home opener.
Does that do anything anymore? Do you think it does? I mean, people are already making a trip to Jacksonville the week before. They still have to drive somewhere.
I don't know if it does or doesn't. I mean, maybe I'm a traditionalist and home openers feel special just because that we're kicking it off again. Here we go again. Another season right here at beautiful Doak Campbell Stadium. Bobby Bowden Field. Can't wait to walk up those steps. I do it every year.
We could have for Boise State. That could have been the home opener.
It should have been. You're not going to get an argument out of me. I think it's ludicrous to be riding on over to Jacksonville. I hate that. I hate when we go over to Orlando. I hate when we're off to Atlanta for these guys. I hate it.
But usually it's in the contract that we're going to those places from the word go. In this case, we decided to move.
Did we ever get a real good explanation or just an explanation?
Probably just an explanation.
Yeah, I don't think we ever really got a good. I mean, it's always money. But
It was probably Chappelle slapping the water glass on the table and then running
out
away.
of the room. Yeah. I mean, that angers me to no end.
Well, you see, if you look at the numbers.
Yeah, it angers me to no end. I keep thinking, man, why are we going over there? Why do we have to drive over to Jacksonville for this game? It'll be equally hot. It's not even like you get a reprieve. You know, the idea sometimes is at least when we move these games, like let's say it's indoors at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Well, got to be honest with you, that first week of September is 105 in Tallahassee. Okay, I'll take it. At least you have something,
right?
A little kernel, a nugget of something.
Like if you could move it and you have cheap airfares and everything is set up to go to Montana for that weekend.
Ooh.
You know, beautiful Montana.
Oh, let's do it. Or Wyoming. You know I always want to go to Wyoming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's take it to Wyoming, buddy. Actually, speaking of which, there is a Wyoming game that made that list of kickoffs. I've now taken the damn thing down, but I need to go back and look at that. I don't know if it's like Missouri and Wyoming. I'm like, that's a game I want to watch. What's that BC game we want to watch that we were smiling about?
Kansas, BC,
yeah,
Kansas.
Buddy.
See, I've committed it.
Yeah, you've committed to BC, Kansas. Is that going to be on the all-new ACC network?
I believe it is.
Damn right
I think
it is.
that's right.
What
yeah.
a celebration.
Oh.
What a welcome on in.
The windfall right
Here's
behind
what
it.
we do, boys and girls. Here's BC, Kansas on the ACC network. And, oh, by the way, some would chide, some would chuckle, but this guy right here will be inspired. I'm like, yes, it is. All right. I've waited for this day, damn it. All right.
Oh, man.
A little BC, Kansas for that ass.
What's the race
Here we
to?
go.
6, 8?
16.
16?
I already have it in my head.
Whoa.
The race is to 16. Well, there's a certain amount of poor play that leads to really good field position for opposing teams.
Right.
You can't get out of your own shadow.
And Kansas does bring the Big 12 influence. A lot of scoring going on.
Well,
so.
not for Kansas. Yeah, but you're right. They'll attempt to chuck it around.
Well, the
Not
ACC's
against
equivalent will put up 6. The Big 12's equivalent of a team that's terrible,
Mm.
16.
There it is, 16. It's tied at 16 in the waning moments. Addazio with a big decision, 4th and 1. Now, we know if this is Florida State, he'd opt for a trick play or a punt. But in this case, he's like, it's Kansas. I'm feeling a little froggy, boys. Let's go for it.
I feel like the big situation in that game
Let's go for it and go get a pastry.
Would be like a 1st and 10 from the 1 coming out of your own end zone. It's like, all right, we got to get it to the 3, guys.
This is a big moment. Give me a fullback. I need a lead blocker. 32 Veer.
Well, Addazio and Miles would have that.
32 Veer. 2nd and 9.
You could call that game the fullback special.
Let's go with the old crossbuck. I'm going to run the crossbuck. Coach, we don't call it that anymore. They haven't called it that since the Junction Boys.
Well, they're running the bear. They're running the bear front, so we need the crossbuck.
We're running the crossbuck. All right, 3rd and 8. 3rd and 8. 32 Veer. 32 Veer. 4th and 7. Good job, boys. We got out from under the shadow of the goalpost just a tad. All right. Get into this one, Johnny. We'll tackle for you. That's that game in a nutshell. Kansas first play call under Les Miles. 32 Veer. Let's show him we got that in the playbook as well.
He yells it.
Yeah. 32 Veer.
You can't stop it.
Yeah, what do you think of that, Addazio?
Let's go 46 Bear.
Oh, I love it. Okay. It's summer. It's summer. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
We have the experience to work with you. At T-Spark Enterprises, we are ready to be a part of your vision and build a space that exceeds your expectations. Whether you're looking for design build or build from your own design, give us a call today for a free consultation. As the owner of T-Spark Enterprises, I guarantee when it comes to your business space, we only provide picture-perfect results.
Call 850-766-1340. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark, TSparkConstruction.com.
License number CGC 1525336.
It's bow time at Bojangles. Need a flavorful, convenient meal? Come in today for 8 pieces of Bojangles perfectly seasoned chicken for just $9.99 and get 4 free made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuits. Every piece of Bojangles flavorful bone-in chicken is fresh, never frozen, and hand-breaded not once, but twice. Hurry in today for 8 pieces of chicken for just $9.99 and get 4 free biscuits. Only available for a limited time. Bojangles, it's bow time.
Shot side, Rivas
The playoffs are here. The Corner Pocket is your home all spring long for all the heart-pounding moments in the NBA and Stanley Cup playoffs.
It's held in a shot,
The Corner Pocket on Appalachian Parkway next to Earth Fair is your headquarters for FSU and Major League Baseball. Trivia Tuesdays, beer bingo Thursdays, and of course, all the moments you'll never forget. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachian Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachian Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
Hardee's used to think bowls were useless dishware. Then we created the new Loaded Hash Round Bowl. Crispy potatoes, fluffy eggs, sausage gravy, melted cheddar, and crumbled bacon. Now part of our 2 for $4 mix and match deal. No longer are bowls just college football games you can nap to. Now they're loaded with Hardee's delicious breakfast favorites and in our 2 for $4 mix and match. Try a bowl today. They're actually really useful. Hardee's, because it tastes better.
Available for a limited time during regular breakfast hours at participating restaurants. Tax not included. Price and participation may vary.
After 40 years as Florida State Baseball's head coach, Mike Martin Sr. is making this his final season. Join all of us here at Garnet and Gold as we celebrate the farewell tour for the winningest coach in college baseball history with limited edition commemorative baseballs, t-shirts, and caps in stock right now. And while you're here, check out Nike's hot new line of FSU baseball jerseys, tees, and ball caps. Garnet and Gold with 3 locations, West Pensacola Street, Collard, and Governor Square Boulevard. If you're a Seminole, we're your store. Shop local and go Noles.
Liberty Mutual Insurance presents.
And Doug.
Limu, there's a woman threatening to sign up for generic car insurance. Grab your birdseed and let's go.
I'm gonna sign these papers right here, right now.
Ma'am, drop the pen. Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance, so you only pay for what you need.
Thanks, Limu, Emu, and Doug.
Don't thank us, thank Liberty Mutual. But also thank us.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Equal housing insurer. State laws apply.
It's Golick and Wingo.
Talking to Chris Long, former NFL defensive end. What was the goal in mind, if there was one, in talking openly about marijuana use and the testing policies in the NFL?
The reaction on both sides kind of reinforced the stigma. I think we have a long way to go. In the NBA, you've got a ton of guys that have talked about it. You know, I've heard Al Harrington talk about it, Matt Barnes, who have been very forthright, and I think we lag behind as a league in the way we deal with it.
Golick and Wingo, weekdays at 6 a.m. on 97.9 ESPN Radio. The Jeff Cameron Show is brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener. Big store pricing with local service. Online at ctf.nu.
Can't get enough of this Everest story. Now there are dead bodies emerging from the mountain as the snow melts. So in addition to the 11 people that are already dead on an overcrowded, unruly Everest, the people that are still alive trying to get out and save their own lives and move ahead are having to climb over dead bodies from a couple of years ago that are emerging from the snow now that it's melting. So you've got fresh dead bodies all around you, and you're having to dodge old dead bodies as you look to get out and not become a dead body.
The darkness is creeping towards you.
Woo! I mean, if you're one of those people whose life's goal was to climb Everest, that's surely changing.
The darkness is creeping towards you.
Pick another mountain, my man.
Any one.
Yeah, apparently any other one.
Any of them.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Impressive, overwhelmingly beautiful vistas exist all over the world. And I, too, understand that there's a uniqueness to many of these places. But if the place you are so desperate to see yields death on the regular, cross it off the list. Check out the internet. Yeah. I mean, what are we doing?
Yeah, and since they give out the tickets or the permits, right?
Oh, unlimited.
Like
anybody can get them.
Queso at an FSU baseball game. You know, that's probably not a good thing.
Queso should be standard at every Mexican restaurant when you sit down. I'm not talking about charging. I'm just saying, like, they always ask you if you want. Oh, what? I'm human. Of course I want queso.
They'd be wasting it on me. You just bring the salsa.
But most people, I mean, come on.
Bring the pain. Bring the salsa.
Well, that is always that they always bring that. That's
yes, they do.
Given, yeah. I want Mexican food right now. I love it with a margarita and salt.
I actually have I've got some
you
Tex-Mex coming tonight.
You're doing that tonight? There you go. 1,200 people from around the world attempting to climb Mount Everest in the Himalayas. Only half succeed. And this climbing season, 11 have died. And now they're dodging dead bodies from last year's group that made a go of it. And the year before that. And the year before that. You know, they also trash the mountain. Like every year, all this trash emerges after the snow melts because these poor bastards trying to climb this thing can't be worried about cleaning up after themselves because each step is taking everything they have physically to accomplish. They're not worried like, oh, I dropped some gum. They just keep going. And the next guy, there's 1,200 of them. Oh, a piece of paper slipped out of my pocket. And they just keep going. Nobody's chasing after it. They can't be bothered with removing the dead bodies. You think they care about a piece of paper? That's nuts. But I'm fascinated by it. It's a scary reality, and these people just sign up. I'm looking at the pictures of the dead people. They're like normal-looking people, but they're like, oh, we're going. If you know somebody that wants to climb Everest, tell them, that's dumb.
Yeah, this ain't Epcot, man.
I mean, I'm sure. Oh, man. Can you imagine what those people thought?
They'll give you big people scooters to go up Everest.
I've been to a lot of beautiful places that I've thought, wow, I need to take the time to look around. Take this in. Etch this into my memory so that when I'm old, I don't have to look at a picture, but I'm laying on my deathbed. I'm thinking about that day or this day or these many moments that surely I was in Muir Woods, okay? I took the time to take that in. The sheer size and number of those trees, the smells, the sounds, how pure the air was. I've got that. That's here. There was virtually no risk I was going to die as I walked through Muir Woods. That would sort of alter the goal.
Dollywood, I'm sure, right?
Of course.
Made the cut.
I've put that in my brain. All of those people with, what was that show? Duck.
Don't do this to me.
Yeah.
The A&E show.
Yeah. That was the year it was very popular.
Duck Dynasty.
Duck Dynasty.
Thank you, Matthew.
Duck Dynasty. Remember how popular that was for like 2 years? Mm-hmm. And if you go to Dollywood, you will see, and I did at that time, which, again, is a questionable decision, I agree, but I had little kids, and we were going to Tennessee anyhow, and somebody said, let's go to Dollywood.
You said it was fun. Whoop, you backed off that notion.
Relatively. I mean,
okay. In retrospect.
I'd pick 50 other things to do off the top of my head easily before I'd say, let's go to Dollywood again. But anyhow,
climbing Everest?
Nope, Dollywood's better. But as I was there, the Duck Dynasty revolution had occurred. I said deck.
Yeah, I'm glad you went with the other side.
I said deck. The Duck Dynasty revolution had occurred. And those losers, a lot of them, everywhere you looked, fat dudes and their favorite Duck Dynasty character. That shirt. Everywhere. It was unbelievable. It really was a cultural phenomenon that I think I took a lot of pictures. I got in trouble. Christy said, stop it. And I was, look at that loser. Look at this one. Look at that guy.
Did you really?
Yeah, because I wanted to document that I was not being over the top when I tell you
the sheer numbers.
The sheer number of Duck Dynasty shirt wearers in Tennessee. They're everywhere. Chances are, if you pull over a guy in Tennessee, right now he's wearing a Duck Dynasty shirt. He's certainly not winning a conference championship shirt, Tom.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Rescheduled maintenance. I told you this was special, and there's more. Free car wash and loaner cars, a gold license plate frame, and a commemorative brick at our new store. Plus, my favorite, the white glove treatment with front-of-the-line service priority. It's Tallahassee's first truly VIP car buying and servicing experience. So if you're in the market for a luxury vehicle, you need to look at Infinity of Tallahassee. Seriously, no haggle pricing, and every time you come in for factory scheduled maintenance, we change your oil for free, wash your car, and even fill it up with gas. It's Infinity of Tallahassee's founding 50, so prepare to be pampered. Infinity of Tallahassee, 3355 Capitol Circle Northeast, next to Ted's Montana Grill.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Yuengling Golden Pilsner, a highly sessionable beer, golden in both name and color. Yuengling Golden Pilsner is the perfect balance of hop and malt character for crisp and smooth thirst-quenching refreshment. Cheer for your garnet and gold with Yuengling Golden Pilsner. Yuengling, brewing good times for 190 years. Must be 21 or older. Please drink responsibly. A message from local beverage distributor Triangle Sales.
It's Ryobi Days at the Home Depot. Buy a Ryobi One Plus 2-pack battery starter kit for just $99 and get one of over 20 select Ryobi One Plus tools up to an $84 value free. The One Plus system also fits over 125 other Ryobi tools, so now going cordless is almost endless. Buy the battery kit, get a free tool. Ryobi Days now at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Valid through June 19th, limit 1 per customer while supplies last. See store for details.
Liberty Mutual Insurance presents and Doug.
Limu, there's a woman threatening to sign up for generic car insurance. Grab your birdseed and let's go.
I'm gonna sign these papers right here, right now.
Ma'am, drop the pen. Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance, so you only pay for what you need.
Thanks, Limu, Emu, and Doug.
Don't thank us, thank Liberty Mutual. But also thank us.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Equal housing insurer. State laws apply.
The Braves are back, and as 2019 heats up, Atlanta is looking for some huge wins as they set off to defend the division crown.
Hit in the air to left field. That may be in the bullpen. Dansby Swanson with a rocket to left field.
Atlanta Braves baseball on 97.9 ESPN Radio is brought to you by Whitton Glass, Tallahassee's first family in glass, and by Metro Deli in downtown Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. At long last, Game 1 of the NBA Finals tips off tonight. The Warriors and Raptors in Toronto. It's the first game in Raptors history in the Finals and the first Finals game in NBA history outside the U.S. The Raptors won both meetings during the regular season, and ESPN's Andre Snellings explains why he's one of the few who picked Toronto in this series.
The thing with the Raptors, it's become clear now how much they were sandbagging in the regular season. They gave Kawhi Leonard get 22 games off for load management, and they still won 58. They still had the second-best record in the league. They still had one of the best scoring margins in the league. And so it shows that they had a team that's capable of playing at a really high level, even when Leonard wasn't completely locked in. And so you take that base, and then you add a guy who's having one of the best playoffs individually that we've seen in the last few years, and that's what's different. That's what takes a team that, okay, they're a contender, and now makes them, hey, they might be a favorite.
Andre Snellings on Freddie and Fitzsimmons. Kevin Durant is out tonight, and Coach Steve Kerr says it's a long shot that Durant will practice before Game 2 on Sunday. DeMarcus Cousins will be available tonight for Golden State, and our coverage starts at 8 Eastern on ESPN Radio, ABC, and the ESPN app. A young girl was hit by a foul ball at the Cubs-Astros game in Houston last night. She was taken to the hospital where the initial reports seemed to be positive. The girl was struck in the fourth inning by a line drive off the bat of Cubs outfielder Albert Almora Jr. Second-round winners at the French Open today include Serena Williams, Naomi Osaka, and Novak Djokovic.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
can't imagine that the NBA is elated with this matchup. I don't know what Toronto does for them. You think about Toronto and then obviously what was once Vancouver. Toronto was this close to going away in the same way that Vancouver did when they moved to Memphis. So Canada didn't always get and support basketball. It took a long time for that to happen, and now they have embraced them in a way that's actually kind of fun to watch from afar. It's cool.
Toronto was probably preferable over Milwaukee, though, right?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, Giannis might be a more sellable superstar in the making than certainly Kawhi Leonard, who doesn't accommodate the press all that well because of his personality, not because he's a standoffish guy, but he just doesn't have a lot to say, and he certainly doesn't say it very forcefully.
I'm just thinking in terms of media market size and what it brings to the table.
Yeah, now Milwaukee wouldn't bring a lot to the table. You're right about that.
And Toronto may get some more
Midwest, but
Canadian eyeballs, if people in Canada want to care about and root for their country's team, something like that. It's not like hockey, though. Like hockey, they'll band all around the Canadian team in the final because they haven't won a cup since 1993.
And you like to bring that up as often as I do, Tennessee's inability to win a conference.
I just think it's staggering.
It is staggering.
93.
The inventors of the sport not to be any good at it.
So I had a CD-ROM disc on my Packard Bell computer in the early 90s.
Oh, that is throwing it back.
And it was Windows for Workgroups 3.0. And you put this Sports Illustrated CD-ROM in there, and you could access the storybook of the Montreal Canadiens 1993 Stanley Cup winning team. They beat the LA Kings, coached by Barry Melrose.
That's correct.
And they said, obviously the Canadian franchises are on the run. Calgary won in 89, and at that time that makes Montreal as decorated, I think more decorated than the Yankees because they had 24 Stanley Cups at that point.
Yeah, and of course Edmonton with Gretzky had done well, and yes.
It's just incredible to me that something I watched on a Packard Bell computer with Windows for
was the
Workgroups
last
3.0
time. Yeah.
was the last time that such a thing happened for that country.
Well, I think the vast majority of the people watching tonight, well, maybe I'm wrong about that, but I would think if your team's not in it, chances are, especially if you're listening to this program currently, your team is not in it because there's not that many Golden State fans here. Maybe some, but not a lot. And even then, they would have to be Johnny-come-latelys. I mean, there was no reason to ever root for Golden State
Like
previous.
a Steph fan or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. But there aren't. I don't think I've ever met a Toronto fan. Normally, you live somewhere long enough, you meet somebody that I don't think I've ever
I knew people
met.
who had Vince Carter jerseys, but that's the
'cause
best I
Vince
can
was
do
a
for
bad dude.
you. Yeah, that's the best I can do.
Damon Stoudemire jerseys maybe back in the day, but I mean that's taking it way back. That's like Jordan era stuff going on there when Toronto would upset Chicago occasionally in the regular season, even in the midst of a all-time great run. People would, why does Toronto beat Chicago? This is weird. Never in a series, but just in a one-off, right? So it's hard to find Raptors fans, but I would say if you were just going to sit down because it is the NBA Finals and there are superstars in the series, now unfortunately most of them play for one team, Golden State, but perhaps the best player on the floor will be Kawhi because Durant's not playing. And that Toronto team's kind of likable. They really are. They play really hard. They're really good on defense. They pride themselves on that, and you have a bona fide superstar, as I was talking about earlier with Kawhi. Is that just the intrigue? Because I don't think the intrigue is that they're going to win. Nobody really thinks that. Certainly Vegas doesn't.
I don't think there's intrigue in the series for the casual sports fan. I would even say casual basketball fan because they'll probably tune in a little bit more. But I don't think the casual sports fan is going to care until there's danger for Golden State that they might lose. At that point, people will commit eyeballs to the TV.
I always feel like in a series that feels this one-sided that you might get people tuning in because it's fun to root for an underdog that's so prohibitive, right? I mean, like this is a big-time underdog.
According to the BPI, it's only a 52-48 chance that Golden State will win the series. That's ESPN's Basketball Power Index.
Yeah, Dave's making a point here as we're talking about this. Not any different than San Antonio, OKC, Cleveland, or Miami as far as TV market size, but all of those teams had all-star players. Yeah, more than one, sure. I mean, Kawhi is an all-star player. He is an amazing player, but no, you know, ideally back in the day, it was the Lakers and the Celtics all the time, and the NBA was in heaven that way.
Right now, LA sucks. Chicago's terrible. The Knicks haven't been relevant hardly ever in their franchise history, truly.
I think it's beneficial for the league to have their superstars spread out in a lot of markets, because otherwise these teams like Toronto or Milwaukee or Denver, or you go on for days with this, right, are useless. They're just there to be farmed by the other big-name teams for when that team's best player is ready to move on, and they can't afford to keep them around. I hate when that happens. It means it becomes a 2 or 3 team league, and that's never fun. So in some ways, a Kawhi Leonard being as great as he's been this year in Toronto, and a Giannis having emerged as a superstar in Milwaukee, and then the idea that Durant is going to go to New York and make them relevant again at a market that size, that's a huge market, obviously the biggest. But, you start looking at the pieces of the puzzle. I think it's fascinating that, let's say Kawhi goes to the Clippers, and you just start moving guys around. I want them spread out all over. I don't want 2 teams to have everybody the way that it was moving for a while there.
The one thing I'll say about markets and whether or not people cared to watch the Bucks or the Raptors or even Golden State once upon a time, and it wasn't that long ago that Golden State was just an also-ran and a terrible franchise for decades. People, I think, at least in my generation, when you're talking about wanting to watch a game, people would say that I'm going to watch LeBron tonight. Not I'm going to watch the Heat or the Cavs or the Lakers. I'm going to watch LeBron. I'm going to watch Kawhi. I want to see what Kawhi does against Golden State. It's more about the players than it is the actual laundry. So if you're going to argue for ratings for this series, you're going to say it's because people want to see if Kawhi can beat Golden State.
Well, and I think it is a legitimate, just being a fan of sport, a fan of competition, and a fan of greatness. It is always good to see a truly transcendent player, or certainly upper echelon in this case, player, have to fight against what appears to be an immovable object, right? Like you've got to do something superhuman to give your team any chance. That's always fun to watch somebody equipped with that skill set make a go of it.
Maybe it's not true, completely across the board, but I feel like in my experience as a kid growing up when the NBA was in a golden age, I know the 80s are considered a golden age, but the 90s were amazing too. Even though the Bulls always won, those teams, there was real danger there. There was a real chance that they weren't going to win the whole thing. But I feel like even for Jordan's Bulls, people talked about it as the Bulls. I'm going to watch the Bulls game tonight. They're not going to watch Jordan. Mm-hmm. And it may be just because I grew up in an era of free agency and highlights and exactly what's happened with LeBron and Melo and Wade.
The players getting all the power and deciding that we're creating these super teams. And
right, exactly. Yeah. But people are going to watch Durant tonight. They're going to watch LeBron tonight. They're going to watch Kawhi or the Greek Freak. They're not watching the teams as much.
Yeah, back in the 80s, you never said, I'm going to watch Magic versus Bird tonight.
Right.
I mean, you did in the NCAA championship with Michigan State and Indiana State. But, I mean, it was the Celtics versus the Lakers, the Bulls versus the Pistons.
I'm just playing back in my head a lot of interactions, classmates in college, whatever, friends outside of college that I went, same age group.
That is interesting.
They said, you're going to watch LeBron tonight?
Yeah.
They don't say you're going to watch the Cavs tonight. Are you going to watch LeBron? Or are you going to watch, KD tonight? Are you going to watch, I got to see Westbrook tonight. Let's see if Westbrook goes off for another triple-double. You never say I'm going to watch the Thunder game.
People in Oklahoma City would be the only ones.
Right.
Yeah, the very localized people. That would be it.
But I feel like you'd say that I'm watching the Pacers-Knicks game, or I'm watching Pacers-Bulls back in, the 90s. But it's more about watching.
Yeah, you didn't say I'm watching Reggie Miller tonight.
Right.
I think that's accurate. It's an interesting observation.
But that may play into how these things. I'm not saying that a bigger market wouldn't help ratings. Of course, they'd want Boston and LA every year from now until the next decade, in the 2030s. But I think the way at least my generation watches sports may be more for the person than it is the laundry, because most of them don't live in that area anyway. What are the odds?
Yeah, the most fun aspect of this series to me is you have, when they're clicking, one of the truly enjoyable offenses to watch, and they were that before they became this dominant franchise that's on a hell of a run. But Golden State's offense is fun to watch. I mean, just what they changed the game, so much so that teams have begun to catch up now, and they've changed the style of play. So they're fun, but then Toronto's defense is very, very good.
Well, like the fly in the ointment to that argument may be like the Spurs, because the Spurs, before Kawhi emerged, you had no idea who the hell. I mean, it's Tim Duncan, and you could name Ginobili and Parker.
You sure as hell never said I can't wait to watch Tim Duncan tonight.
You didn't say I'm going to watch Tony Parker tonight. You said you're going to watch the Spurs, but they're kind of the antithesis.
You think
to
they're
the
the
way
last of the ones that won titles that you would say the entirety of the team, and that was kind of indicative of who they were too, by the way. Even their superstar, and to be sure, Tim Duncan is one of the greatest players to ever play, but the fact that he was the big fundamental.
It was either
good Lord.
It was either those teams before Kawhi, and even still with Kawhi because he wasn't big enough of a star yet on his own, or the first Warriors teams. I don't know that people, they didn't hyper-focus on Steph. They loved the way the ball moved in that offense.
Yeah.
And that's why Spurs and Warriors, we thought was going to be just this treat for a lot longer than it was. But I think the early Warriors, the pre-Kevin Durant Warriors, still qualified.
Look, back in the day, and here we go, we'll go down that road again like you were talking about. So I remember when the Celtics beat Houston in the NBA Finals. That's 86, I believe, in 6 games. But that Houston team with the Twin Towers, like this idea, and you talked about Houston in a certain way, and I remember them beating the Lakers, and Houston beat the Lakers, and I'm just thinking about what you're saying. The Celtics were referred to as the Celtics in Phoenix and Portland, and just all of these teams only by their team names, never by their stars.
And I don't know that it even happens in pro football. Like, are you going to watch Brady tonight? Maybe for the Packers, because they have no chance. So if you're going to watch the Packers, you're going to watch Aaron Rodgers tonight because they're going to go 8, 8, 9, and 7.
Watch, yeah, because he's amazing.
But I think with the Patriots, you still mostly say you're going to watch the Patriots.
Yeah, football lends itself to that though because it is the ultimate team game. I can't be as we learned, Tom, and once again I'll steer it back to Florida State. If you can't block, I don't care how good your quarterback is or your receivers or your running back. You need everybody.
Is that the lesson we were taught this year?
That we can bring it back? Oh,
no, that if you can't block,
it
got
doesn't
problems.
matter. Yeah. Can't block, can't win. I know that. It was, I don't know how many times I had to just say that over and over again because the season left us wanting, longing, searching. And yet every time somebody would try to overcomplicate it, I'd say, we don't have to think this. We can't block. Stop the discussion. It doesn't matter. I don't care if you like that play call. It's irrelevant. He could have called a much better play call, one to your liking. Wouldn't have made a difference. We can't block. Because you would hear that.
Sure.
Why are we calling those plays? The plays aren't the problem. We can't block.
Well, I talk about that, though. Why are these plays being called in this situation? Because it gives me a greater indicator of who he's going to be.
Well, maybe you're doing a soul search and a research project about what we are 4 years from now based on how he calls plays and down and distances. And I understand that.
It's a character study because I know we can't block. And if I had to say that over and over and over again.
But I would do that every time you brought it up. I'm sure people got sick of it because you would do that. And then I would go, and I'm not blaming you, but you would do that. I'd go, well, we can't block. Doesn't matter, Tom. Doesn't matter what he's calling. We can't block.
Right.
And that's not a true indicator of what he'll be calling in a few years because we can't block. If we could, he might call a different play. But if we can't, so he's got to call this play. And
he's got to call the dive. He's going to call the dive.
And it still won't matter because we can't block. Damn it, man. That's what that was. Over and over again. This year promises to be more intriguing for lots of reasons. There's a lot on the line. He's not calling plays for starters. But secondly, we got to believe, and I want to believe, and I have to believe, that there'll be a modicum of blocking, just a little bit of blocking, which if you get just a little, it opens the playbook up a little bit. Now you can call these 8 plays instead of these 2 because we can block it a little bit. Maybe.
Marvin Wilson.
Nicely done. But we can't block, Tom. Marvin Wilson, Jeff.
Again.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Magic were two first-timers at this, and now one is gone, and the other, who was a first-timer at this, has assumed even more power at his job as GM.
I don't think it's going to get better for the Lakers before it gets worse.
And I think we all will agree it continue to point at Jeannie Buss.
Golick and Wingo, weekdays at 6 a.m. on 97.9 ESPN Radio. You're listening to The Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
I certainly don't know that this story is going to be any good, but the headline is good. Rick Pitino is tired of fans of his Greek basketball team smoking during the games. I think that is fantastic. They're just lighting up in the middle of a basketball game. No care in the world.
I feel like if the job is to get in character of Rick Pitino for this gig and this bit, it's a dangerous one.
Because of the cigarettes?
No, because, the Greeks.
Yeah.
They're like Italians with no class.
Disgraced former Louisville Cardinals basketball coach Rick Pitino has spent the past 6 months coaching in Greece, where he's finding success leading a team in the Greek league, Panathinaikos, something like that. I'm butchering it.
A lot of success, great success here.
And there's an article about his successes there in the Ringer, the website The Ringer. Now, he is tired of having to tolerate cigarettes in the arenas. According to the AP, he said this after a win on Wednesday. It's extremely self-centered with selfish people. You're in an arena, and there are 10,000 people smoking, and the players are choking. So sooner or later, you've got to say, hey, man, we're at an athletic event, and I'm going to discipline myself, and we'll wait until halftime. I'm going to go out and blow my brains out with cigarettes. Oh, my goodness gracious. He calls it nonsense. I do like that he calls smoking blowing your brains out. But there is this wonderful picture from in the arena of players playing and just plumes of smoke everywhere. It's like fight night at Madison Square Garden in 1936.
Yeah.
It's the best. Everybody there. The Greeks are like, we're not stopping. We like to smoke. You keep your warnings. I don't want to live forever anyhow. You can have those last years from 80 on. I'm going to smoke and enjoy these years right now.
The 50s and 60s, my uncle would run in the garden. They'd have indoor track events or like indoor long-distance running events. And Madison Square Garden was full of smoke. And my dad said he'd go watch his older brother go run. And at the end of it, guys would be coughing up blood into the towels that they were given at the finish line. And it was just kind of standard fare. Nobody thought about it.
That's just the price to pay.
That's
if you're
the
gonna
price.
Run in the garden, baby.
If you want to run in the garden and win that medal, you're going to have to breathe some smoke in.
That is awesome. I just think I love when people are unwavering in the face of overwhelming evidence that smoking is terrible for you. I know this is stereotyping, but apparently everybody in Greece is like, screw your studies. We're smoking.
What are these people doing?
Yeah, he must have been blown away.
Are these people smoking?
Are you allowed to?
Do I smell a cigarette?
What do we do? Think about how foreign that is. Like, you're never at a gym expecting somebody to light up.
Georgios, Petros, what is this?
Is this a thing?
They're smoking in here. Are they allowed to smoke?
There's another one. I guess they're all pulling out their... It's a thing. As soon as the event starts, everybody's like, all right, here we go.
Hey, put that out.
Game on. Let's do some smoking.
Hit your fist. Put that down.
I just think this is a wonderful moment in time. I would love to watch the perplexed look on his face. Like, this is serious. These people are smoking.
What is wrong with the Greeks?
He's going to say something incredibly offensive at some point.
Have you seen the Acropolis?
It
was white, not gray. There's no smoking.
I love it. That story is never going to get old, and I hope that there is an addendum, something that's added later on. Next week I can revisit the story like I keep doing with Everest. Dead people at Everest and smokers in Creek basketball games.
I don't wear my good suits anymore. I wear my terrible suits.
Seriously, you'd be enraged. Can you imagine if you were on vacation and you love basketball? You're like, let's go catch the Greek League. And you walked into an arena, just an entire arena of people smoking during a basketball game?
It's the Palace.
He's just looking around. Really?
You people are disgusting.
Palms to the sky.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
At 1 p.m. right here for wall-to-wall coverage of every big program in the region. Whether it's the ACC or SEC, college football is always on our minds. The conversation happens right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio, Tallahassee Sports Monster.
I'm Michael Blank, attorney with the law office of Jose Fernandez. If you've been in an accident, I know this can be a scary and confusing time. Our firm specializes in handling all types of accident and injury cases. Let us guide you through the process and get you the compensation you deserve. Call 855-HOSE-305 to make an appointment for your free consultation today. If you can't come to us, we can come to you, day or night. Call us now, 855-HOSE-305, the law office of Jose Fernandez. We don't get paid unless you do. Offices, Tallahassee, Miami. Se habla español. JRFinjury.com.
I give to you easy laundry service from my friends at Wash Around the Clock. Oh, buddy, this is a game changer. If you're like me, your life is hectic. Between work, school, your kids' sporting events and activities, well, it leaves you precious little time to kick back and take a load off. About the last thing you want to do is hours of laundry, but there it sits, staring at you, taunting. No more. That's right. More watching, less washing. Save hours of valuable time when you sign up not doing laundry with easy laundry service from Wash Around the Clock. Whether it's dry cleaning or just plain laundry, Wash Around the Clock's easy laundry service will pick up and deliver at your home or office. So sign up for free today at easylaundry.net, or you can give them a call, 850-597-9007. Again, sign up today at easylaundry.net. Oh, and by the way, I got you. Use promo code JCS20 and save 20%. That's promo code JCS20. You're saving 20% on your first order. That's easylaundry.net from Wash Around the Clock. Thursdays are Friday Eve, and that's a reason to celebrate. No matter what you're looking for, they've got you covered every Thursday down in College Town. Centrale offers 50% off select pizzas all day, every Thursday. Or you can stop by Township for Taco Thursday. $2 house tacos, $2. Madison Social offers the Social Agreement. You and a buddy can split one order of wings, 2 Madso burgers, 2 bourbons, 2 proof Madison Socials, all for just $40. See what they did there? And don't worry about parking. Plenty of spaces available in the parking deck or surrounding lots. Check out all the Thursday College Town deals right now on Thursdaysincollegetown.com.
A lush green lawn is like a fresh green salad to insects, unless you use Roundup Bug Destroyer from the Home Depot. Right now, a special buy at just $9.97. Bug Destroyer kills over 100 kinds of insects, even grubs and ticks, and prevents new ones from coming back for 3 months without harming the lawn. Keep your lawn off the menu this summer. Today is the day for doing with Roundup Bug Destroyer, just $9.97, only at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Selection varies by store.
With a roster full of young superstars, the sky's the limit for the 2019 Atlanta Braves, and we'll bring you every huge moment.
Fly ball to deep left center field. At the track, looking up, it's out of here!
Atlanta Braves baseball on 97.9 ESPN Radio is brought to you by Fonville Lewis Marion McConaughey, Bagel Market Bistro, and by Early Trucking Company in Arlington, Georgia. Driving every day from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios, this is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. At long last, Game 1 of the NBA Finals tips off tonight. The Warriors and Raptors in Toronto. It's the first game in Raptors history in the Finals and the first Finals game in NBA history outside the U.S. The Raptors won both meetings during the regular season, and ESPN's Andre Snellings explains why he's one of the few who picked Toronto in this series.
The thing with the Raptors, it's become clear now how much they were sandbagging in the regular season. They gave Kawhi Leonard get 22 games off for load management, and they still won 58. They still had the second-best record in the league. They still had one of the best scoring margins in the league. And so it shows that they had a team that's capable of playing at a really high level, even when Leonard wasn't completely locked in. And so you take that base, and then you add a guy who's having one of the best playoffs individually that we've seen in the last few years, and that's what's different. That's what takes a team that, okay, they're a contender, and now makes them, hey, they might be a favorite.
Andre Snellings on Freddie and Fitzsimmons. Kevin Durant is out tonight, and Coach Steve Kerr says it's a long shot that Durant will practice before Game 2 on Sunday. DeMarcus Cousins will be available tonight for Golden State, and our coverage starts at 8 Eastern on ESPN Radio, ABC, and the ESPN app. A young girl was hit by a foul ball at the Cubs-Astros game in Houston last night. She was taken to the hospital where the initial reports seemed to be positive. The girl was struck in the fourth inning by a line drive off the bat of Cubs outfielder Albert Almora Jr. Second-round winners at the French Open today include Serena Williams, Naomi Osaka, and Novak Djokovic.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Final hour of the Jeff Cameron Show, at least for today. Thanks for tuning to it. Glad you're with us. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. I was just looking at the Charlotte Observer's article on the ACC's 2017-2018 fiscal year money generated, and it's $464.7 million in revenue, a record for both the conference, for the conference, I should say, but a financial disparity between what is going on in the ACC and those places like the Big Ten and the SEC. But obviously the hope still is that the ACC network, backed by ESPN, will help close the gap some. The ACC's revenue, detailed in league tax records that became public, ranked fourth amongst the Power 5 leagues. The ACC was ahead of the Big 12. Get you some of that, Big 12. ACC's ahead.
In terms of raw revenue or payout to teams?
Big 12 did $373.9 million, well behind the $464.7 million in revenue for the ACC. And in fact, the ACC was right with the Pac-12, off by less than $50 million. So they're all right there. So those three, everybody's trailing the Big 10 and the SEC.
I think the Big 12 paid out more per school
because they have fewer schools.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But they're not in better shape, I don't think. I mean, that's $379 million.
It's just important to keep succeeding in every sport that we can. And obviously, you said it a couple hours ago, we need to get our act together. Because when you get...
meaning Florida State's got to play better.
When you get to renegotiating this thing, you got to be in a little bit better position to do so. And that's, a handful of years away? In terms of these contracts, that's nothing. That's like tomorrow.
Well... Yes, and part of the angst is not just the disparity of monies, but also the grant of rights thing was a long time ago. We've been waiting a long time, as you've noted before. Yes. And, of course, the ACC's been paying a penalty to its member schools in the millions.
Yes.
Because this didn't get done as quickly as they had promised.
Right. 2012 was, I believe, the grant of rights. It was a long time.
Long time ago, Tom. a long time ago. During the period of the tax returns that we're looking at here, the ACC's revenue did increase by 11%. The conference distributed an average of $29.5 million to its 14 full members. Notre Dame got a paltry 7.9 because they're partial members. So here's your $7 million. Overall, the Power 5 conferences, by the way, combined to generate $2.8 billion in revenue. Did you know that? $2.4 billion was dispersed for 65 member schools. The 5 conferences combined revenue nearly doubled between 2013 and 2018. So up and away for the Power 5 conferences in terms of revenue generated. Now, obviously, no major conference has labored to make more money in recent years by way of adding to what was possible than the Big Ten and the SEC by putting together those networks, and now everybody else is racing to catch up. I'm just glad we're next in line. Big 12 still doesn't have anything that anybody cares about, and Pac-12,
I just really want to see how this shakes out. Let's assume that the ACC gets, all the big players to sign up in terms of carrying
Disney will strong arm them. It's going to happen.
It probably will. I agree with you there. I'm not going to deny that. But if you're in a certain amount of markets, does it really matter about the ratings, or does it matter about the price that these carriers are going to pay for the channel?
Pay for the channel, yeah.
I think it matters more about the baseline cost than it does the ratings for the product, yes? That's one thing. Okay, so I'd like to see it shake out. How many homes can we be in, and how big of a product can we be in terms of dollars coming in our way? Not because we're never going to be, three or four of the top 10 most watched college football games in the country in a given year. That's just
not. Florida State can be.
Right, but
and Clemson can be.
We're not in a position. You would need Florida State, Clemson, and Miami to play a triangle with each other in order to be where the SEC is in terms of total ratings and
You're
viewership
not going to beat the SEC with the not just the passion, but the footprint being what that is. But, nobody's watching Vandy play Kentucky. So we can't expect that. I get it. There are elite matchups that you're going to have that bring in the ratings. Alabama versus Georgia is going to be a ratings boost if it happens. But,
I guess my point would be I think some people are arguing it's about ratings, and some people are arguing it's about how many homes have this channel in their, on their cable package or their satellite package.
That's all I care about. I don't care about the ratings.
Right. So if Disney can strong arm
I can't say I don't care, but
enough people, then maybe the gap will be closed to a even closer degree than we think possible.
And that's what they're counting on. Look, the conference has lost ground to the Big Ten and the SEC, and they know that. And you can't have a continued growing disparity between the ACC and those two conferences. If you seek long-term to compete, you don't have to equal them, but you have to be in the neighborhood. You have to, as I like to say, you want to live in the same neighborhood. I don't have to have the same mansion you have, but I have to be able to afford to live in this neighborhood. And they're counting on this thing to be a success and to help close that gap. And the fact that they have remained true to that mantra, that our partnership, now that's one area where he has obviously stayed the course and said repeatedly that our relationship, and I'm talking about ACC Commissioner Tom Swaffy, our relationship with ESPN has been very important in this endeavor. And we have received around every turn assurances from ESPN that they are excited about and are backing and supporting the ACC network. Well, we would all roll our eyes at that, but really, again, it was paramount that be the case, that he be telling the truth there, because ESPN, when they're throwing that much money at something, they almost spend in a way or promote in a way that means it can't fail. It may not be the most popular thing they have, entity that they have, sport that they show, whatever it might be, but they're going to ensure once they're all in on something that it does not fail, typically.
I wonder how much ratings does affect the bottom line, though.
I don't know.
It may be the next contract in terms of yearly guarantees.
How many people truly watch? This would be interesting. You're right. When you're talking about ratings, I find it fascinating because look, I'm a fan of sports, collegiate sports in general. So I'm not getting caught up about what network I'm watching or not watching. So if I'm flipping around and the SEC network has a good game on, I'm watching it. I don't care. I'm supporting the big bad SEC. No, I don't care. It's a good game. It's a good game. I'm gonna watch it. That's how most people are in general. That said, if you flip on the SEC network right now, you're not watching. How many people are watching Tennessee play softball against whomever they're playing against?
No.
And the SEC network, nobody's doing that.
I agree, but you're not paying for that. Much in the same way that a Fox or a CBS is paying for Thursday night NFL rights. They know that that's not the best game of the
That's
weekend.
correct. That's right.
But they're paying for it because they know that the top end of viewership in the country, people view NFL games. Like if you look at the top 50 events on television any given calendar year, the NFL's like what, 40 of them?
Yeah, it's
45
huge.
of them. So what you're doing if you're the SEC is you're selling the biggest thing
we
that
have
we
the
can
most
give
popular
to you.
thing.
Right. So you're going to pay for that, and then you're going to bring all this along with it. And that's where
what we're doing here, yeah.
Yeah, that's where, when you get to the next round of negotiations, I think the gulf may be created at that point. But if you can get the ACC network from Miami to New York and everywhere in the
rest of the country, at the end of the day, the next thing I want to read, really the only thing I care about reading, is that Xfinity is signed on.
Right.
Well, we're done here. Okay, now let's sit back and there's nothing more to debate. It happened. We finally got the network. It is going to help us to what degree we're debating, and there's a difference of opinion there. But I don't care about that right now because it's a circular argument we keep getting into. It doesn't make it. We need 2-3 years to have a understanding of the impact.
Well, let's just see, like for example, if you could say after 2 years that the ACC and the SEC are in the same amount of homes in the country. That those two channels,
right,
those ESPN-run
channels,
channels are in the same amount of homes. Mm-hmm. And you could throw CBS out of the equation, and you look at the ESPN dollars that are coming in. Mm-hmm. How do they compare? Are they dollar for dollar, cent for cent? Does the SEC get a bigger chunk of the package buy if you bring on the extra sports channels?
You're getting into why, even though we all rolled our eyes and still do to some extent, why we thought it was important to have an ACC team on Madison Avenue, and that's what they point to with Syracuse. I know Syracuse isn't on Madison Avenue, but you know what I mean. It's like the idea of having a team in that market and then picking their brains. Remember, they were the ones they brought in to basically produce the PR surrounding the network.
Yeah.
So the stuff you're seeing now, and by the way, every time you turn on ESPN, either radio or television these days, there is a commercial for the ACC network. It's an annoying commercial because we're not in it enough, but it runs constantly. And I'm sick of it. I mean, if you're a fan of the SEC, the Big Ten, the Big 12, or anybody not in the ACC, you are probably damn tired of seeing that commercial. But that's what they do. Yeah. That's when you know they're all in on something. They go to war, and this is the fruits of that firm that we read about, the inner workings of, right?
I haven't been able to find the answer to this, and maybe they don't want you to know, but let's just say that you have $100 that comes in to ESPN, and of this $100, they're going to go to the conferences. This is not ESPN's take because they get a big chunk of the whole equation.
Yes.
So it's $100
That's the only reason they do it.
that the SEC or the ACC is going to get. What's the split? Does the SEC get every 60 or 60 out of every $100 that comes?
I bet we could find that. I don't know. I don't know the answer.
It probably has to be tied to, let's just say you pay $5 for the extra channel. So you're paying $5 for ESPNU, ESPN News, SEC Network.
Really ends up usually being about screwing people who don't like football.
Yes.
And that's what happens. They get screwed.
Well, yes.
They're forced to do it.
The way it's going to work is if you're an SEC fan and you want SEC Network, you can't just get that without getting ACC Network along with it.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's what they do. That's why they were so confident. Oh, we're going to be in most households. And you're like, really? How many people are clamoring to watch the ACC? Oh, don't worry about it. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Well, but it sounds like this is the key part. If you listen to the way Thrasher talked about it, either to the media, the beat reporters, or the IRA article that was on warchant.com, you hear Swafford saying to ACC fans, now's the time to call your cable operators.
Right. They want to create a buzz, sure.
But I think this is also the time where they sit back and they go, okay, now let's see if this takes. ESPN will do what it has to do if it needs to.
It will.
But I think ESPN doesn't want to have to do it and play those cards if it doesn't have to do it.
Yeah, we weren't in a position originally where we could have acted on this quicker. You hear that a lot. Why didn't we do this? Well, we weren't in a position.
Like if you're ESPN, you want to save that card. You don't want to use it now if you don't have to. So let's just see if the ACC at large can
but
make
remember, originally when the SEC network came out, a lot of the institutions in the SEC were like, hey, this is what we were promised.
Right.
There's always hiccups.
There was a ton of 11th hour negotiations for the SEC network.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And because think about it, the average Joe doesn't want to pay more for that network or any other for that matter, really. I mean, there are universally agreed upon stations that I say universally, but 80% of the country agrees. I got to have HBO, okay? But
or ESPN.
Or ESPN or whatever it is, right? But they're not, the individual networks are never going to be wildly popular across the board. They can't be.
Boy, you don't need new shoes.
There we go again. By the way, if you're tired of your gym or you're bored, Go to mine. It's Orange Theory Fitness. I love it. In fact, I'm going tomorrow morning, bright and early, Tom. And it's going to be a rude awakening because I've spent the last 4 days not going since I was pseudo on vacation and coming back from that. And I feel antsy. I can't wait to get back. I have not said that about a gym in a long, long time, that I can't wait to go back and work really hard and push myself because I see the results. And that is true. That's what you get with Orange Theory. There is guidance. You're not wandering around aimlessly. You have inspiration. It's all around you. And moreover, if you do it, you will see results. If you want to know more about it, you can either ask me via email or come up to me if you see me out and about, and I'll happily tell you. Or, of course, you could go online to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Your roof back to shedding water, not leaking water. Call us today. We can help. At T-Spark Enterprises, we conquer all peaks.
Call 850-766-1340. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark, TSparkConstruction.com.
License number CCC 1331204.
We're back with a state champion. That's right, a state champion head coach. His name is Titus Nixon. He is the basketball coach at St. John Paul II Catholic High School. Coach, how long have you been involved with athletics at JP2?
So I've been involved for 8 years as a coach. I was an assistant, and then 2 years as the girls basketball coach, and then I just completed my 5th year as the boys basketball coach. I also spent my junior and senior years as a student at JP2 in the early years of the school's beginning.
What does it say, though, about the culture of an institution that you graduate from there almost 15 years ago, but here you are still spending your time back at that school?
I think it says a lot. The fact that my wife didn't graduate from JP2, but we both felt drawn back to help in some way. And we weren't even living in Tallahassee, and we always had this thought of, man, it would be so neat if I could go back and help in some way. And when I was named the coach 5 years ago, it was very special, and people thought I was crazy when I said in 5 years we're going to win a state championship. Maybe even I thought I was a little crazy, and it was just so cool to see the program develop over these last 5 years. And we've seen that in many of the sports at JP2. We have so many committed coaches, so many committed teachers that really lay it all on the line day in and day out to try to provide a great atmosphere and a lifelong positive experience for these students in their high school years.
Coach, thanks for your time. For more information about athletics, academics, student life, visit sjpiichs.org for St. John Paul II Catholic High School.
Prescription products require an online physician consultation and are only available if the physician determines a prescription is appropriate. See website for full details.
Hey guys, good news. The expensive Little Blue pill is now generic, which means you can get the prescription medication to treat ED at affordable prices. And now get your first month's supply for just $5 at 4hims.com/deliver. Hims connects you with real doctors online who can prescribe the medication, and a pharmacy sends it right to your door. So easy. To get your first order for just $5, you need to go to 4hims.com/deliver. That's 4hims.com/deliver.
A lush green lawn is like a fresh green salad to insects, unless you use Roundup Bug Destroyer from the Home Depot. Right now, a special buy at just $9.97. Bug Destroyer kills over 100 kinds of insects, even grubs and ticks, and prevents new ones from coming back for 3 months without harming the lawn. Keep your lawn off the menu this summer. Today is the day for doing, with Roundup Bug Destroyer, just $9.97, only at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Selection varies by store.
Today at Whataburger, we're cooking the Buffalo Ranch chicken strip sandwich.
You asked for it, and it's back.
We got 3 chicken strips, 2 slices of Monterey Jack cheese, topped with Whataburger's own buffalo sauce, a little bit of buttermilk ranch, all between a toasted bun.
Chicken sandwich on its own is good. Chicken sandwich with buffalo sauce is fantastic. It really wakes up the chicken sandwich.
It's crunchy, and then it's spicy, and then it's cool. Your mouth is exploding with flavor.
Whataburger's Buffalo Ranch chicken strip sandwich. That's back, and it's only here for a limited time.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
And that album came out, Zenyatta Mandata. I used to listen to it in my room or borrow it from my brother and listen to it in my room, and I never understood at the very beginning of that song what all the shuffling and talking was about. You talk about being a moron. Fast forward 25 years later, I'm driving down the road, and I decided to throw that on. I hadn't heard that record in years, and I start to kind of pay attention to the lyrics. I'm like, oh, man, he's traveling. That's an airport. Okay, you're a dumbass. It took me 20-some-odd years to figure that out. At first, I just thought they didn't have the money to get rid of the commotion at the beginning before the producer hit record. Really? I was like, well, they were poor back then. I was like, what? Why'd they leave that in there? They should have got rid of that. The producer should have, hold on, we're recording here.
Well, I mean, I thought it.
idea.
Actually, I kind of thought of it as maybe like there was a kind of a bum on the side, because if you go, especially London, you got dudes with suitcases and animals, and they just kind of lay there, and that's what they do in the subway stations just outside the underground, all over the city. Best parts, worst parts, anywhere in between. It's really interesting.
You know, a place that has it's a topic that none of us care about anyhow. I mean, we care about it, but
vagrants.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I don't want to go down that path of going. You know, what city has a real problem with vagrants? But we could do this. But who wants to hear that? That's
every
just
single
tragic.
one, like ever.
Yeah, some are a lot more than others. You know that. I mean, like, what's really cool, and I will say this: if you went, and I did, to New York City in 1985, 86, and I did, and got robbed at the Port Authority, and then went back, say 2000, and I did. It was an entirely different city. I mean, it was unreal.
Right. Where do they all go?
They're all dead, Tom.
Right.
I don't know.
Exactly.
It wasn't like China. They didn't kill them all before the Olympics, which is what China did.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember that. I went, oh, they have completely cleaned up New York City. I mean, it was radically altered. Now later on we didn't know that Giuliani would be insane like he is currently. But at that time, everybody was like, yeah, Rudy, good job. Now he's just a whack job.
I've cleaned the streets of New York City.
Bizarre. I guess what I should say is that I don't know if you're aware of it.
It took a whack job to get New York clean would be the argument, I guess.
I suppose. I didn't know if you were aware of this, but you should be aware of this. Your favorite tournament is underway, the Memorial. And I bring it up because and this is why I talk about it, because this is the one that DeChambeau won and did the.
Yeah.
And I wanted you to know.
It's where you big time Jack.
It's where that footage played this morning, and I laughed over my cup of coffee. I cracked up. I always think of you because I remember how angry you were about him talking in the manner in which he was. And it is absurd, but it makes me love him because he's an idiot. He's not an idiot. He's smart. He's bizarre.
Well, I mean, hang on. I was angry to a degree, but I also was in awe that we have our Shooter McGavin. I mean,
we have him.
That's him.
It's
that's
him.
who he is. He just needs to win more. He's not winning as much as he should have.
Well, he was on his way, and he told Jack about it right after he won that tournament. And
you know, Jack, when I was down at Bay Hill and
when I won it, the tournament at Bay Hill.
You know, Arnold's tournament.
Yeah, when I won there.
Rest in peace, of course.
Yeah.
Mr. Palmer and I were great friends, Jack. Did you know him? Did you know him?
I love that he had the gall to do that. That's what he did.
Arnold had some great things to say about you, Jack. I don't know if you know that. He told me in confidence that he thought you were really just a really wise man, good golfer.
So that's a guy that is very high on himself and is very interesting, and certainly is his own man. But he will tell you.
It is my guess. So there's a story about Brooks Koepka being in a meeting with club execs. And I think it might have been a driver company, but if not, whatever. So let's just call them Callaway, whatever he has. I don't know. Does he play TaylorMades?
He plays actually a bunch of different clubs.
Okay. No wonder he's not on a commercial for one of these manufacturers.
Modern players, and this is an actually interesting talking point because you're your own entity, right? You're your own corporation. Always felt beholden because they got a lot of money to play certain clubs. Players are starting to take on a different approach. He's one of them. Listen, I play Vokey wedges.
Good call.
And he does. He uses Vokey wedges.
The best.
But he has, he's got a Scotty Cameron putter, which he loves, which I hit his old Scotty Cameron last night. Trey Jones has it, and he gave it to his son, Drew, and I got to putt with it last night. Anyhow, that said, and then he has different, irons, like after he goes from Vokey. I don't know what.
Did you start from outside the ball like he does?
I did not, but I went 2 for 2 with the 2 putts, and Trey filmed one of them and posted it. I was like, thank you. All right, I made it. But that said, he had a fat grip. I didn't know that. Maybe I'm going to get the fat grip.
Oh, boy, here we go. Here we go.
See? Truth in advertising, right? But he uses different irons. I don't know what he uses. He may use TaylorMade. I'm not sure. And then he has a different driver. It's bizarre.
So he was sitting at the, considered like a long table, and some of the execs were openly talking at that point about another golfer, and the other golfer is not named. And they believe that this person's going to win multiple majors. And Brooks stopped the conversation and said, that's not going to bleep and happen. And they said, well, who's going to do it? And he raised his hand.
Yeah.
And in this story, I forget if it's on CBS or Golf or whatever. I apologize for not knowing the right place. But then in parentheses, the writer said, this player still has not won a major, by the way. And that's the obvious
Fowler,
guess.
right? It's Ricky Fowler.
Oh, well, it's either, you know what?
It's probably Ricky Fowler.
I don't consider him a young up-and-comer. Maybe he was at the time.
Maybe he was at the time. I think it's Ricky Fowler.
It was probably Ricky Fowler.
Because that's the club
because he has no
manufacturers-
majors. That's
That's
right.
correct. He's never won a major. He has finished second several times, and I do believe he'll get a major. That actually came up last night. Somebody asked that question. Do you think Ricky Fowler
But it
will
could
ever
be
win a
Ricky
major?
because Ricky still hasn't won a major.
He still hasn't won. I actually may get in trouble because I ripped Ricky on last night's show. I said, go home, man. Stop sticking around tournaments to hug the eventual winner. Take it to the house. I'm tired of you sitting there all decked out in orange, waiting on somebody else to win the tournament so you can hug them, so that you can be sure the camera sees you hugging him. What are we doing here, man? Go home. Take it to the crib. You're always there. The other guys are intermittently there. If Tiger wins, they want to be there to be seen with him. Tiger stayed for Brooks, and that's the only guy, I argue, that's the only guy he would stay for. He would not. Tiger Woods would not stay for anybody else but Brooks Koepka.
Maybe Phil at this point? Probably
Phil's
not.
got 5 majors. Why would he
No,
stay?
because they're kind of paired together in history. That kind of thing.
I don't think he'd lend
like
him.
Arnie and Jack did not like each other until later in life when they became
I'm not
the
sure they
symbols
ever
of
did. I've said this before. I'm not sure they ever did. I'm not speaking for either. I'm
sure Bryson DeChambeau can let us know because he's spoken at length with both.
That's the ribbon.
I'm sure in confidence.
That's what we'll do. We'll put a ribbon on it. By the way, Tiger Woods 200 today. He is in the clubhouse.
Old Spieth shot a 6 under.
He is back, by the way. He believes in all those putts are going.
He was uneven last week, so it's important that the Memorial. This is clearly a tournament that matters to a lot of players. If he plays well this weekend, then he's on your short list for the Pebble, right? Has to be.
He has to be. For you gambling types, by the way, there he is. Steady Eddie Mark Leishman in the clubhouse at 5 under with a 67, tied for third. He ain't winning that tournament, but he'll be there on Sunday, buddy. Clockwork, I'm telling you. Other notables, you don't care, so I won't tell you. But Max Homa is also playing well again.
I asked Alexa today before I left what's the deal. And so she.
What's the deal,
No,
Alexa?
no. You know, the leaderboard. I asked her for the leaderboard. And she called Spieth Spith. And I was like, I love you, Alexa.
Ryan Moore is your leader, by the way.
She said Ryan Moore was leading at the time. She goes, Jordan Spieth shoots 6 under. I was like, all right.
We have a Martin Keimer sighting. Welcome back, Martin. Tied for third at -5. Good on you, buddy.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Then we created the new Loaded Hash Round Bowl. Crispy potatoes, fluffy eggs, sausage gravy, melted cheddar, and crumbled bacon. Now part of our 2 for $4 mix and match deal. No longer are bowls just college football games you can nap to. Now they're loaded with Hardee's delicious breakfast favorites and in our 2 for $4 mix and match. Try a bowl today. They're actually really useful. Artie's because it tastes better.
Available for a limited time during regular breakfast hours at participating restaurants. Tax not included. Price and participation may vary.
You're catering a wedding, and the bride says,
Everyone is raving about the hors d'oeuvres. My aunt was asking if you do corporate events.
now is the time when the right business card is essential, and Vistaprint can help. Head to Vistaprint.com, and you can customize 500 cards starting at just $9.99. You choose the paper, the shape, and the finish. Whatever your style, create a card that gives you the confidence to own the now. So head to Vistaprint.com and get 500 business cards starting at $9.99. Use promo code 6060 at checkout. That's Vistaprint.com, promo code 6060.
Liberty Mutual Insurance presents and Doug.
Limu, there's a woman threatening to sign up for generic car insurance. Grab your birdseed and let's go.
I'm gonna sign these papers right here, right now.
Ma'am, drop the pen. Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance, so you only pay for what you need.
Thanks, Limu, Emu, and Doug.
Don't thank us, thank Liberty Mutual. But also thank us.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Equal housing insurer. State laws apply.
After 40 years as Florida State Baseball's head coach, Mike Martin Sr. is making this his final season. Join all of us here at Garnet and Gold as we celebrate the farewell tour for the winningest coach in college baseball history with limited edition commemorative baseballs, t-shirts, and caps in stock right now. And while you're here, check out Nike's hot new line of FSU baseball jerseys, tees, and ball caps. Garnet and Gold with 3 locations: West Pensacola Street, Collard, and Governor Square Boulevard. If you're a Seminole, we're your store. Shop local and go Noles.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Heads up, before I forget to tell you, NBA Finals begins tonight. You can hear it right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio beginning at 8 o'clock. All right. Kind of looking forward to this first game. So to decide whether or not Toronto's got a chance to make this interesting. I am also kind of curious to see how Golden State guards Kawhi. It will be, I mean, when you think about who is responsible for that and who's capable, if there is anybody, and or do they tag team the thing, it'll be fun.
You could argue and say that, well, I mean, if it's one man against a team like Golden State, I don't know that it can be done. But old Bronski did it a couple of years ago, so it's not without precedent.
Yeah, and his role players were just flat out a lot better against Milwaukee than Giannis's role players were for him, you know? So they've had, if you get Ibaka stepping up like he does every other game, you're in good shape and you don't have to shoulder it all, because he had a couple games and he was injury-riddled. I think where they won the series was his defense. Once they put him on Giannis, that was the end of Giannis.
And then Lowry decides to hit some really big shots. And
Yeah.
Van Vliet, of course, having a 7 3-point game. I mean,
which was kind of crazy, right? They had some guys step up and make plays. I like their surrounding cast. They're not going to be that consistent. They'll have games like that, and then they take the night off and they get beat, or he has to score 48. But the thing I would say is that defense is unreal. The problem is they just have so many weapons, you know? I mean, now, granted, one of them is out. I'm really also fascinated whether or not – I mean, what if Golden State – and I would ask this, what if Golden State wins the first 2 games of the series without Kevin Durant? And then Kevin Durant says, I'm ready to play. They would have won every game in his absence. They haven't lost since he got hurt.
Well, you don't bench him. You let him play.
I guess. I mean, I don't know. They're playing better.
You'd sit Kevin Durant if he was available after they take a 2-0 series lead.
God forbid they lose that game. That's just weird. It would affect the way they think of him and the way people talk about him, and he is so sensitive, it would make me laugh, so I hope it happens.
Well, he's sensitive.
He's the most sensitive little bitch in the league.
Oh,
it's
God.
unbelievable with that guy.
He is?
Oh, my God. All he does is set up burner accounts on Twitter so he can yell at people who criticized him.
It's a league full of a lot of sensitive dudes.
He got caught and then lied about it and got caught again. He recently just went after what's-his-face, who's an idiot.
Kyrie Irving's not more sensitive? KD gets more attention because he's a better basketball player.
No, I think what I would say is Kyrie's sensitive and weird, right? He's just kind of weird, but he's not stalking folks on social media to see if his name's being mentioned. Kevin Durant, 3 different times in the last 2 years, has been caught looking up his own name and then firing off at random Twitter followers who have like 10 people.
He does have a social media weakness. There's no doubt about that.
It is bizarre.
But I think you've got a lot of sensitive people in that. I mean, look at
it's a league
Embiid
full of
with
sensitive
Charles
guys.
Barkley.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. I'm not saying there aren't other sensitive people. I don't know, man. If you're the best player in the world, which I think he is, what are you doing searching your name to see if people are being critical of you in the middle of, say, Phoenix?
It's a generation that you can't relate to, and I really kind of mostly can't relate to.
I can't. It's bizarre. Setting up burner accounts.
I mean, it's all over. Every sport has this type of behavior.
I've yet to see anybody.
You got Antonio Brown filming his own post-game speech, and obviously he responds to everybody. He and Juju Smith-Schuster have a back and forth publicly, shooting off at the hip.
Oh, I think it's bizarre. Antonio Brown, it turns out, appears to be a terrible dude. Teammate, that is. I don't know about a human being, but it seems like he's a terrible teammate, obviously. And he broke codes in terms of filming your coach in the locker room and then posting it on the internet.
Kind of like Nooney here when Willie was given a post-game presser.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Boy.
And that breaks the code. But I don't know that it's sensitive. I mean, it's weird. It's social media addiction. It's
posting about haters and all that kind of stuff.
It's the need to have some sort of outside approval and acceptance that is bizarre to me and you and most people who are adjusted.
Brooksy is not, immune to this, and professional golf is a completely different world than the NBA.
Oh, yeah. He went after Brandel for that very reason, right? He didn't like being criticized, so he responded to it, and I ripped him for it and thought it was stupid. And there are a lot of guys. I hope Brooks doesn't have a burner account searching out, Jerry in Phoenix for ripping him to his 10 followers.
I will bet a lot of them have burner accounts. I mean, hell, it's not just immune or it's not exclusive to this generation. I think there have been coaches in the past, perhaps at this fine university here at Florida State, that may have been monitoring message boards.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny. I know that they certainly had people do that for him. And then tell them about it and then respond to it. Head coaches have done it. Assistant coaches have done it. It is bizarre when it happens. You know who doesn't care? Leonard Hamilton. Very well adjusted.
Leonard is refreshing.
Does not care. They have to make him under his account, which he doesn't do anything with. They have to tell him, hey, why don't you, post something tonight? It was a great win. He doesn't want to do it.
Very proud of our players.
Right.
Can you put an exclamation point there?
There you go. Yeah, he didn't want to do it. His team will tell him that he has to do it, or he'll say, don't embarrass me. You know the kinds of stuff I would tweet. Leonard's boring that way. He's old school, and he really doesn't care about being accepted in social media.
So you have moved from the place where you want to see James Harden fail in spectacular ways
no.
You want to see this scenario created so that Kevin Durant's sensitive ass is on display again.
I want to see it happen because I think it's funny. It's good theater. It's ridiculous. I want to see how absurd, to what extent would he take it? It is weird, right? They've played, if you just look at the efficiency numbers, listen, are they a better team without Kevin Durant? No. Have they played better without Kevin Durant lately? Yes. I think they feel freed to some degree, right? I mean, they feel like, hey, reminder, we were running this thing before Kevin Durant got here. I think there is some of that there. And certainly, if you just think about the way some of them have responded to getting more touches, to having more opportunities with the basketball, to playing at a level. Steph always plays well. He's been asked to score more because he has to with Durant's absence. And so that means more shots for him. And anytime that happens, that's probably fulfilling for a guy who can really light it up, right? Same for Clay. I mean, they really love to have the ball and shoot the ball. But for other guys, I think it's extended middle finger.
Also, I would note that if social media existed in the 80s and 90s, I'll bet Michael Jordan would have been all over it, shouting people down.
I don't know.
He was that kind of petty. That pettiness.
He is petty.
But that pettiness with social media at his fingertips, I think he would have been a monster in the social media game.
He might have. The only thing I would say, and we'll never know, is that he was also obsessed to a place where he didn't have time for anything else, so maybe he wouldn't have even...
other than gambling.
Well, I'm saying, when he wasn't competing or working to get better at beating you in basketball, he was doing something else competitive, which was gambling. He's obsessed with competing, and so...
I think this is seen as a form of competition, though, because it is, forgive me, I won't say the other word, but it's a measuring contest of sorts to see how much influence you have. Influencers, everybody wants to be an influencer. But I think Michael could have viewed social media as a forum where he can exercise his authority and prove to you how much better he is than you and how much more power he has than you. I mean, Magic Johnson left in part because he wanted to be able to tweet again. That's how petty that dude is. And read that story about the Lakers and how petty he was behind the scenes. I'll bet you that if those guys had this type of media in front of them,
if they grew up on it,
we would look at them, maybe at least a couple. Out of like the 10 best players of those 2 decades, a couple of them would be looked upon like Kevin Durant is in terms of how
think
small
about
they
this.
think.
In a league full of, as you rightfully pointed out, guys that are petty and guys that are overly concerned about outside forces and what they think of them, which is just strange anyhow. But in a league full of guys like that, Kevin Durant has been able to work a niche to where even people around the league who love him are like, dude, get a grip. You've been caught lying about this stuff like 10 different times. You're coming at people in the middle of the night. Like he's sitting in his house, his mansion somewhere, scrolling for his name and then yelling at some guy he's never met in the middle of nowhere about an NBA opinion that he doesn't agree with, that mentioned him. That is extra. That's going the extra mile. That's bizarre. That's weird. That's insecure. That's what it is. And I think maybe a better way of describing it, now that we've vetted it a little bit more, is that he's the most insecure guy in the league.
That's true.
To be that good.
Well, I think there's probably a fine line between being insecure and being petty. Or having the chip on your shoulder, like the idea of always having the chip on your shoulder. You're trying to build an insecurity or some kind of target to beat.
You're certainly trying to find something to motivate you. I just don't. I think the difference between guys who use social media in a way that we also don't agree with, but kind of chalk it up to the modern athlete in this era, and him, is that the other guys that are also too obsessed with that stuff are going back and forth with each other, and they're sending, like, when Embiid rips other guys in the league, he's sending them stuff. And then everybody goes, ooh, he burned him. Look at that. It's funny. He's not reaching out to Steve in Phoenix to go, hey, Steve, you're wrong about this. I'm better than so-and-so. That doesn't happen.
You know who should interview him about this? And I think we could learn a lot more about their psyche.
Who?
Scott Van Pelt. Does the same crap.
Does he do that?
Oh, he responds to people on Twitter all the time. And it's usually the low-hanging fruit argument that he can make look like morons, the morons that they are.
Right.
But he takes the time to do it over and over and over and over again. Loves it. It's one of his favorite things. Herbstreit does that a little bit too. He's not quite in the deep end.
Yeah, because he doesn't want to be on Twitter all that much. It doesn't seem like.
But when he does, he sure likes to make people look foolish.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
they get off on this kind of
stuff. So they're
stuff.
grabbing guys that, like you said, it's low-hanging fruit. Somebody has a moronic opinion or statement, and then they take it and quote tweet it.
Yes.
So, so that's what you're
They don't just reply. They quote tweet it.
They quote tweet it.
Because
That's
it's a public shaming thing.
Yeah.
And it's not always about somebody who is hateful.
Right.
You know, which is like, let me expose this fool
for
being a fool.
There's a time to expose hateful people.
Right.
And that's when you do it. If it's a racist or if it's, somebody saying absurdly inappropriate stuff. Yes.
But when, like, for SVP, for example, I had to stop following him years ago. I check in every once in a while to see if he still does it.
Because
and he
still does a really good job on his show.
Yes, if you
that
could
part
just,
of it, yeah.
If it could be like the 90s and we didn't know that he was like this behind the scenes, he would be beloved.
Yeah, it's bizarre. It's bizarre.
But I think for people who follow him, they're like with a KD, they're like, man, he's awesome. And you know what? He'll tell like it is. But Jesus, man, get a life.
Kevin's weird, man. I view him as a guy that's in rarefied air, both as a player and as an individual who is so insecure as to be talking to people that you're never going to meet, whose opinion they're not influencers, they're not people that matter. It's just really bizarre. I don't get it.
Maybe it's that insecurity that makes him capable of hitting a 20-footer, fading away when he has to.
If they don't, if he comes, it would be really funny because I almost guarantee you that he would view, because remember, he's leaving. So we think. So think about a guy that has been hell-bent on securing his place on the mantle as best player in the league. Like he cares deeply about it. He has said that. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. I never blame anybody for having a goal to be the best at what they do. I would never rip him for that. So I don't mind when he's asked about it and he says, yeah, I want to be the best player in the world. Or I don't mind when he's asked about it and he says, I am the best player in the world. I happen to concur. I think he is. But once you've reached that place where you're the best player in the world, why do you care what anybody else thinks? That was the goal. You don't need to. Now, maybe you care what your peers think, but you ought not care what, again, the aforementioned ubiquitous Steve in Phoenix.
I agree, but it's his call. I mean, it's entirely
of course
his
it's his
call.
call.
I mean,
It's all of our calls, but it's dumb.
But Michael Jordan made mountains out of ridiculous molehills
Against
that we never
against other players.
But we never heard about half the other crap that, I mean, we would now. Everybody's got a camera phone. All I'm saying is allow for the possibility that Michael Jordan may have been the same type of petty behind the scenes that we would have known about.
Mike was. Mike, as we found out in the Wright Thompson piece, would lick cinnamon rolls so that nobody else could have them at commercial shoots.
Well, there you go.
That's crazy.
Imagine
That's
that dude
nuts.
on freaking Twitter is what I'd say.
I wouldn't. But that's a hypothetical. I can't argue. I'm not saying that he wouldn't or would. I don't know.
I'd say there's probable cause.
If he was on social media, I don't disagree. He'd be weird. It would be bizarre. But I don't know that he would be on it. I don't know that he would be on it.
But he's deified. All I'm getting at is like that guy's deified, but Durant is what?
So Durant gets ripped because of the kind of pettiness that you're describing, but I don't think he's thought of as a bad human being. Mike is interesting in that I think there are people who think Mike is a bad guy. Now, not criminal. He's not a criminal. But like a bad dude. Like you don't want to hang around with Michael Jordan. I can't imagine that it would be fun to be Michael Jordan's friend.
That hardly comes up, though. In a discussion with KD, it's like that has to be injected right away. Whereas with Jordan, it's like GOAT, greatest of all. I mean, person you want on the team, final shot, all that stuff. You always talk about basketball first, and with Jordan, then you get to the petty stuff at about page 3 or page 4 of the argument. But with KD, it seems to walk down the aisle like arm in arm.
I think it's because it's been in the last 2 years, there's been a sea of missteps on social media from him that reveal kind of a sensitive underbelly that is kind of odd for the best player in the world. I think that's the thing. They're trying to juxtapose, like, wait a minute, you're a fierce competitor. You want to be the best player in the world. You are the best player in the world. You've won rings and MVPs. You finally reached that place where it's recognized. The very dream you had is recognized. It's happened. And you're arguing with people on Twitter. Stop it.
He's not satisfied.
Don't argue with Jeff Cameron and Tom Lang. Argue with Kyrie or somebody about your place in the game or what you think you would do if you played against them or something like that. Okay, do that if you want to do that. It's I still find all that strange, but okay, do that. Not the random NBA fan who roots for the Sixers. Of course he doesn't like you. You don't play for his team. Stop arguing with him. Stop searching your name. That's like what you're saying Van Pelt does, is searching his name to find out who's mentioning me.
That's just his mentions, probably.
Probably just his mentions. Let's do probables.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
And we started the music too soon, I think, even though I told you to do it. Because I wanted to bring up, and I guess I can bring it up with the music in the background. That's a nice little ambiance. Did you see the foul ball? Did you see the incident?
No.
Well, what I think is fascinating about it, is that we still haven't mandated that these nets reach to a certain place at all fields. You know that it's up to the individual teams.
Was it beyond the dugout?
It's
up to the teams?
Yeah, past a certain place. It's up to the teams. I don't know specifically the marker, but yeah, it's up to the teams. And, obviously this has been a topic for some time now because Major League Baseball's players have spoken up about this. They're angry about it. They've said, look, the fan experience cannot get in the way of safety. And we're seeing too much of this. And if you watched last night, it's really, really sad because they've been demanding this for a while, but Albert Almora was like almost inconsolable when he saw the kid and broke into tears. They had to walk him off the field. I felt so bad for him because you can only imagine, if you're a decent human being at all, if you saw a child that you just hit with a base, you'd feel horrible.
Right.
It's not your fault.
As a kid who grew up sitting behind the nets in hockey games without the nets being there and behind the goals and above the boards, it used to be just a free-for-all. That's where you'd sit if you want a puck. Espen Knudsen killed a young lady.
Yeah.
And a young girl. I think she might have been under 10 years old.
Yeah.
And that's when they finally put the nets up. They had to wait for somebody to die to do it. Major League Baseball.
The argument right now. Who's going to... How many specials have we watched on this?
And I can tell you, as somebody who sat and continues to do so, but I like sitting behind the goals in a hockey game, just off center, just a little bit. When they put the nets up, I noticed for maybe a game, and that's with a white sheet of ice with a black net. That's about as stark a difference as you're going to have. But within a game, you don't see it anymore. You're focusing past it.
I think people think that it's going to have a greater impact on their sight lines than it does. Once you go and you experience it, within a few minutes of the game starting, you don't even notice.
Well, think about anybody who goes to Hauser.
Right. Don't even notice.
If you're sitting in a grandstand.
And it's funny because I went to games in that grandstand before the stadium expanded and before they expanded the nets. I used to go to games there all the time. I caught foul balls, too. And I always thought that was the coolest thing, that you had the ability to do it. But I was young and dumb and didn't really think about the consequences of a ball hitting an older, fan, just maybe looking down his popcorn or something or whatever it might be. I never thought about it. I just wanted to catch a ball. So when they first said they were going to do that, I was like, no, catching baseballs is part of it. Nah, I'm wrong. I was wrong. Absolutely, you've got to put those nets up there. I mean, people can't. It's been proven. They've shown it scientifically. You can't get your hands up. Especially at certain angles, and this gets a little kid.
Yeah, you're sitting atop the dugout, something like that. Now, I know those are covered now, but yeah, it's a half measure. They need, I guess, the full measure.
Well, and I think they probably will act. Let's get some names out here. Here we go. Brewers, Pirates, Chase Anderson. You saw he hit somebody again yesterday. I don't mind hitting the Reds. I'll hit the Reds every time because your boy just sits there and pimps home runs. It's going to get guys hurt. That's actually an interesting debate. The Pirate. So when is the right time to hit somebody? If you missed it yesterday, Suarez, we hit Suarez. I got mad that we hit Suarez because we should have hit Dietrich. And he was in the game. I was shocked, they left him in the game because I thought that they know we're going to throw at Dietrich, and he deserves it. At the same time, if he wants to pimp a home run because this is an ongoing war, he should do it, but you're going to get hit. We decided to hit one of his teammates, which I can't get a feel for that. I'm not real happy about that. I would have hit him. But we hit him in a 7-0 game. And the argument afterwards was, our pitcher should have been thrown out. I agree with that. It was definitely intentional. Didn't hit the head, hit the arm. But they were hitting him this was retaliation. And it's a 7-0 game in the 7th. I've always been told that is when you hit somebody. You don't hit them in a 2-1 game. You don't hit somebody 2-2 in the 4th.
If you can help it. But,
right.
I mean, if you're just playing close games at some point,
Yeah, no, right. I agree. But it's
4th inning, leadoff hitter. All right, here you go.
But if it's 7-0, you've got carte blanche. I was shocked. I was like, no, don't hit him. Don't hit Suarez.
Yeah. I think the argument could be made that perhaps you put an end to it quicker. I don't know if it's true, but you could make an argument that maybe you put an end to it quicker if a teammate walks up to his boy and says, hey,
man, can you stop? You're going to get us killed.
You're going to get us killed.
Big Papi used to say that to Manny Ramirez. And other Red Sox players used to say, man, here's the deal. I know you're not scared. Got it. You're a big, strong guy. You're not scared. Somebody hits you, you charge them. You're going to tell me all about that. They're not hitting you. They're hitting me. They're hitting us because of you standing there in awe at your feet. And you're right. That's what it takes. And maybe that's why we hit Suarez. Maybe that's what they thought. Like, okay,
I don't know if that actually works, though.
I don't know if it does either.
Is there a study on that?
Chase Anderson, pitcher for the Brewers. We'll throw Joe Musgrove. I hope we hit several Brewers because I don't like them either.
Carlos Gomez hasn't been hit yet.
He needs to be hit. He always needs to be hit.
He's hitting.
On the regular.
Man, whenever you get a guy like that who is just polarizing as the day is long.
Always has been.
Typically when they catch on with a new team, they always start fast.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, they're hitting like 170. Because there's a reason that they were available.
He's been available for 5 years to everybody. He goes around. He plays all around the league.
He's a middle reliever.
Yeah, it's bizarre. I mean, he literally plays for everybody. I mean, once a year, I'm watching Major League Baseball, and I'm like, oh, he's still in the league. I didn't know he was with the Twins. like you just look up, oh, he's gone now. And then he's with your team. And then he's with somebody else's team. Remember he was on the Rays?
Yeah.
Like, what's he doing on the Rays? I mean, just bizarre.
He was in the Johan Santana trade.
Red Sox, Yankees, Chris Sale, and J.A. Happ. Hey, did you know that the Red Sox and the Yankees were playing tonight? ESPN will let you know. Twins, Rays, Martin Perez, Charlie Morton.
Good series.
Really good series. Royals, Rangers, Jacob Junis and Mike Minor. We got the Indians and the White Sox, Carlos Carrasco, Manny Benuelos. Fun name to say. Angels, Mariners, Felix Pena, UC Kikuchi. All right. Mets, Dodgers. Are you playing 47 games against the Dodgers?
This is the 4th of 4 out there.
God almighty.
Did you see how we lost last night?
No, I only saw that it was like a one-run game.
No, we were up 8-3.
You lost 9-8?
Yep. Diaz came in for the save, gave up 4 straight extra base hits, didn't record an out, and then the sac fly was the winning run.
Who gave up the other runs prior to that?
Bullpen gave up 2 runs, and 1 in the 7th, 1 in the 8th.
Oh. Anyhow, you'll play again tonight. Jason Vargas is on the hill for you.
Syndergaard got us to the 7th up 8-3. It was a damn miracle.
Gun-Hing Ryu is going for the Dodgers.
Yeah, so we're going to lose that series. We could have split it.
Yeah, Vargas-Ryu is not the matchup you're looking to exploit. And that is a look at those. That's Sean Rizan on the bump.
The summer wind.
Vargas Ryu sounds like a noted poet from the West Coast.
You ever read Vargas Ryu? I have, actually. Yeah, like his work a lot. Good work out of you. Good work, Matthew. Be well. What do we got next? NBA Finals, I know later?
Yeah, 8 o'clock NBA Finals.
Perfect. Sounds good. All right. Be well, everybody. Talk to you tomorrow.